Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Hey listeners, Elliot Jay O'Neill here. Just before we get into the podcast today, I thought I'd just properly explain what the concept of this episode is. This podcast you're listening to is part one of a two-part special that looks at two-part episodes of The Simpsons. You might remember we did this once before in episode 69 and 70 when we reviewed Who Shot Mr. Burns part 1 and 2. Well, The Simpsons have a handful of episodes which could loosely be considered two-part episodes. So this week we will be reviewing the part 1s of 3 different stories, and next week we will be reviewing all the part 2s. And just because things weren't already potentially confusing enough, we are changing the panel lineup in each segment. Baby Beard Media will be reviewing the HD era episodes, we got the classic Simpsons Index crew on the Teens era episodes, and Pods in the Key of Springfield will be joining us for the classic era episodes. Alright, I hope you are all caught up to speed. If not, rewind the pod and listen to this again at half speed. It's actually something you should do anyway. Half-speed settings, make any podcaster sound drunk. It's really funny. Seriously, check it out. All right, let's get into the first review. And welcome to the HD era section of our two-part special podcast. I'm joined here as always, except when he's not BT Calloway.
Oh, hi.
And all the way from the beautiful Adelaide in South Australia, the crew from Baby Beard Media, Ellen.
What is up?
And Sean.
Yes.
Oh, that age-old Sean quote saying.
Y'all, everyone's saying it. Yes.
Unless they're not. And then they're saying no.
Always saying it, except when they're not. Yes.
It'll be on your tombstone. It'll be beautiful.
Eli
Yeah.
Sean. Yes.
That is correct. He is there.
So, yes, in this two-part special, you guys from Baby Beard Media also have a podcast, Shut Up and Take My Podcast, which is a Futurama podcast where you pit episode against episode in some sort of bloody glorious gauntlet battle for my entertainment.
Exactly. Except
Yours and the others who come after you.
And we also say that it's the Australian Futurama podcast to make it very clear that we are an Australian Futurama podcast.
Yeah, we're not that German one.
No. Well, by the way, please check it out. There is a German Futurama podcast. I understand about every 13th word because it's Du sind Sieber frei.
Ah, jawohl.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to scout the other Futurama podcasts, and obviously we have no indication of whether that's good or bad because we don't fucking speak German.
But we are the best, so watch us.
We are the Uber podcast.
And you guys have been on the Index before. When I was in Adelaide, I had you on for an episode of the Index where we covered Lisa's wedding.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. There were so many of us in the room.
Oh, fuck, there was too,
It was hot. It was sweat. I had to crawl through under the table to get to my seat.
There was a lot of drinking too, wasn't
And then
there?
I spilt your gin.
Yeah,
How did I forget that?
I haven't actually forgiven you for that, but we move on. That's showbiz, baby.
Well, don't worry. There's no chance I can spill your gin today.
I mean,
But I can.
It'd be really, really interesting if you can. It would be some fucking what's the film? Scanners. If you could telepathically do it.
Oh, that is
I make your gin explode.
I was going to hire a dude, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like an opposite of an Uber Eats. Uber spoils. They walk up and wreck shit.
Uber spoils.
I think you've got an app there, man.
Hit me up, internet.
But, an app as sinister as that, they'll have to do that tattoo like in that Rick and Morty episode that aired the other day. But anyway, we're not doing that. Because, Simpsons have had a bunch of Future Jump episodes, so I thought it would be appropriate for you guys to join us for this one, which is Season 23, Episode 9, Holidays of Future Past. First released in December of 2011, it was directed by Rob Oliver, written by J. Stewart Burns. In this episode, this is like a Future Jump episode where at the time where we see that Lisa has a kid, Zia, but has 2 boys. I didn't catch their names, actually.
Irrelevant.
Yeah. And the episode explores their sort of fractured relationship with their kids, and also Maggie is being a Mary-esque character that's about to give birth to her own baby. Hey, everybody, what do y'all think?
Oh, you know what? I really am not going to listen to any negative thing you have to say about this episode, because god damn, did I fucking enjoy this episode.
I had
Holy
a good time.
shit.
I had a good time. There were certain elements that I was like, I don't think there was anything that really twigged in my brain that was like, that was shit. Like there were a few like, fallen jokes and whatever. But like the only thing I could really say, I enjoyed it, but there were like a few sentimental moments that just didn't feel earned for me. But apart from that, I had a fun time.
It's kind of interesting. There's New York Magazine, Matt Zola Seltz, I'm being Paul Salt here at this point, quote, "This episode is one of the 9 latter-day Simpsons episodes that match up to the early classics."
Ooh,
That's
big
a
words.
bit of a call.
That's bold.
Big
I'll give him
fucking
bold.
words.
And this was nominated for the Emmy Award for that year as well.
Yeah. This is a very well-regarded episode as well. And, it's funny because, you guys said you enjoyed it. This is actually from the same season as the other HD era episode I made you watch, Replaceable You.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
wait.
Like, I was really worried coming into this episode because you've hardwired me to hate the HD era. And I was actually, I was thinking, wow, we are going to have a bad night because both of these are 2 seasons apart in the same era that I hate. And I really was worried that I was going to come in and just hate it because I meant to hate it. But no.
Even with the title, I was like, like it's too on the note. Like it's too, I'm referencing a thing that's popular at the moment.
Hey there, fellow kids. You've heard of the X-Men.
Was Days of Future Past out yet?
Days of Future Past was 2014.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. So it predates that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
not the comic, obviously, but...
Yeah. How about you, BT? What do you reckon?
Man, I had a pretty good time throughout. I think it lagged a little bit in the middle, but outside of that, I got a surprising amount of jokes. I'm sitting there going, now, am I just full of dumplings and good feelings, or am I enjoying this?
What's
But,
wrong with being full of dumplings and good feelings, man?
Well, nothing, but it just alters my perception of reality. So,
But no, we had a good dinner. Had some good dumplings and watched a couple of episodes of The Mandalorian. I think, it was a real good pick-me-up.
Nice.
Have you guys seen it yet, or?
No, we don't have Disney
No.
Plus like some people.
We have to stream things illegally like everyone else.
Join us.
All right, well, let's hook into this episode if we're not going to talk about The Mandalorian. So, Sean, we'll start with you. For better or worse, what's a moment that stands out to you from this episode?
Oh, fuck me. You know what? How they explain away Maggie not talking. I'm all here for it. What is it? The umbilical cord also counts as a vocal cord, so
Yeah.
you're not allowed to use that vocal cord in lieu of hurting the baby. So hell yeah. Like, there's just a lot of really awesome gags that they don't waste. Like, hell, even the Mad Max Airport.
Yes.
That was my other one. Simpsons is so good for its visual gags, especially in the later seasons. I realized that, especially when we watched the HD era, a lot of what we did find positive about it was the visual gags, what the animators are chucking in. But this episode just also has some really damn good writing.
Yeah.
And how about you, Ellen? What stands out to you for better or worse?
Oh, well, probably the strength of this episode for me is in the comedy and the gags and that it just breezes past. It's not like, that other HD era episode that we watched where it was just like, it just felt labored and it just felt like, is this funny? Which no one finds funny. When you're trying to be funny, it rarely works. And like a lot of gags in this episode just kind of like, just were, and they were actually really clever misdirects. Like my favorite one is probably, it's like a hydrated joke from like Back to the Future where Marge there's a pill and it's like Christmas cookies and Marge drops like a little bit of water on it and you're thinking, oh, it's gonna like turn into Christmas cookies, but instead it turns into a Christmas cookie recipe and then she just gets out the flour and stuff as usual and I'm like, fuck, that's a great gag because it like so effortlessly misdirects our expectations and comes up with something even better. Yeah, I also love the Mad Max fucking planes so much.
What about the coffee sharpener?
The coffee sharpener, I love so much putting coffee beans in a pencil sharpener. I like as well, similar to the Lisa's wedding.
Yeah.
I had Lisa's wedding episode where it's like
I think it's called Lisa's Wedding, isn't it? Yeah.
The future is just still shit. Like
Yeah.
still shit.
But still shit, everyone's still shit.
Oh, and that's right. And there's an Ent joke.
yeah.
It's like we realized that trees was sentient at some point.
I hated this.
Onto one pine tree,
Opened his
mouth.
sappy mouth. Yeah, it's just like they just go past that. It's not like a Family Guy joke where it's like, wouldn't it be silly if this? It's just like, nah, here's a silly thing. Move on.
It just is, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to chuck it back on you, Elliot. For better or worse, what's worth? This is why I'm not the host. For better,
especially
or-
because you leapfrog BT. BT, for better or worse, what stands out to you?
I mean, I can
Oh.
wait my turn. It's cool.
I was going to say, why do you always have to be last, Elliot?
Because it gives other people a chance to do notes and takes the pressure off me.
Sean, I think he knows how to do his own podcast.
He knows how to take shortcuts.
You got to spoil him every now and then, just make sure. I think maybe a genuine shock is they tried to actually go for hard and arguably actually landed it in this one. There's, some nice complex family dramas going on, but I'm sure we'll get into that in the discussion. So instead, I'm going to focus on the Dalek Bobby running around London because that was smashing. Doing the whole Benny Hill thing, chasing women in and out of the doors.
Yeah, Benny Hilton wasn't bad pun either. Yeah.
Yeah, that warmed my heart. Dalek Bobbies.
And what about you, Elliot? For better or worse, what's your standout moment? Fuck, I don't know.
Thank you, Ellen. What a great setup. Just to put a dampener on anything, because someone has to. God damn you.
Someone has
you
to.
positive people.
Someone has to be the Grinch.
Yeah. Tis the season and all.
This is why he's going last.
Yeah, one joke that I wasn't a big fan of is the Patty and Selma bots that leave them and run off with each other.
You mean the AI visual reference?
I was gonna say they're the gigolos or the gigolos or
The gigolos.
Isn't it I can't remember. But
What's the David Lee Roth song? I'm just a gigolo. Everywhere I go.
Jude Law character.
Let's just skip
essentially.
out and call them fuckbots. Move on to that.
The fuckbot joke.
Call the spade
Yeah.
a spade.
Pretty much. That's visual reference. The character model design is from AI, artificial intelligence.
Is that a fact?
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm with BT on this one.
Yeah, Elliot. Yeah, it is.
God, you're just not a real AI fan like we are.
I can confidently say that I am not.
But I bet you've seen Bartificial Intelligence, that Halloween
Oh.
Treehouse of Horror.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, is that actually the name of an episode? Artificial Intelligence? That is fantastic.
Treehouse of Horror segment, at
Yeah.
least.
Oh, hell yeah.
Play count. Sean, you haven't seen this episode. Have you seen it, Ellen?
Nah.
BT?
No.
Yeah, this is a few times for me now. Season 23 is actually when I think the series had a dip again after being kind of good in 22. But yeah, I think it's interesting that this one has endured, even though it's a risky move for them to do like a big future jump, especially when, they've had that Lisa's wedding episode.
Yeah.
And what do you guys reckon, having watched that for the index, can this one exist alongside that?
Well, I'm going to say it. I really fucking hate that Milhouse's endgame for Lisa. He's just, talk about settling. Like, nobody
Yeah.
wants Milhouse. I'm sorry. No, that's not true. Somebody out there wants Milhouse, but not Lisa.
Nobody likes Millhouse. No.
But not Lisa fucking Simpson.
No.
I also liked that they showed that she had a little,
Yeah, she had two
She's,
relationships that we know of.
canon bisexual icon Lisa
Well, I love that
Simpson.
cannon by.
She got shot out of her cannon, and then when she landed, she was bisexual.
And briefly polyamorous, apparently,
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
She had,
Yeah, I mean, Hugh was not in the Christmas photos, but he only met the family before the wedding.
Now,
Briefly,
Elliot, full
yeah.
disclosure, I zoned out when you asked the question. Can I presume that the question was, can this coexist with all the other future episodes, including Lisa's wedding?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now that you mentioned that, I'm like, oh, wait, this probably can't work with President Lisa as well.
No.
But there we go.
Nah.
Well, maybe if she served one term and in the devastation of her defeat, slummed it and went with Millhouse.
Yeah.
You know,
Or maybe
we
she
can,
got
we can draw a
impeached
line
somehow.
here. I don't want to. I feel bad for it, but,
Yeah.
arguably. But then when is Bart going to go to law school and become Chief Justice of the Supreme Court? Get your life together, boy.
Yeah. I also felt like, I mean, I already said this before, but the heart in Lisa's wedding is just so there, and it's so wonderfully and cleverly wrought out in moments that aren't just like overly sentimental. It makes you cry because of how earnest and honest the characters all are. Like Homer shows his love, by trying to put something that he cares about very deeply just under the rug in front of Lisa. And
Dad, you're rambling.
but this one, it had those moments where I'm like, you didn't earn this.
No.
And, like Lisa reconciling with Marge.
It pretty much just happens. And you're like,
Yeah,
okay.
it just happens, and it doesn't...
It's just very much like, here's the emotional moment, not let's work towards the emotional moment.
Whereas the icky stuff kind of did, like Lisa and Bart talking about how shit their relationships with their kids are.
That was nice.
That actually
I
felt
loved the
really
treehouse scene.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I saw Bart up there, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a nice
Yeah.
moment.
All the tough emotional parts seem to work. Like even Lisa going, my child thinks that I'm an idiot or whatever. Not that you would understand, Mum. And Marge is just like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, like that was so good. And it's just like, I just wish that if it was going to have the heartfelt payoff, that it would actually just have it in a more clever Simpsons way.
Yeah, you pretty much end this bit with, effectively hacks into her daughter's laptop and then, sees that, oh, she does have respect for me. And she's like, well, of course I do. And it's like, then why are you always antagonizing her? Like,
Yeah. I think for Lisa and her child, a better reconciliation would be Lisa finding it through Marge.
Yeah.
Like her actually coming to realize, like, shit, I was really bratty and stuck up to my mum because I thought I knew better, just like Zia's doing to me.
Well, it seemed like they were going that way as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
It's like they did lay the seeds for the kind of that double reveal, which is kind of what they end up doing with Homer and Bart. It's like, see, this cycle like kind of continues from generation to generation. It doesn't happen on
Yeah.
Lisa's side.
There's a really good example of that in like Whip It, where Ellen Page's character has a letter for her mum that reveals like how much she actually admires her mum, even though they have a really hard relationship. But unlike Lisa's wedding, no one's really the central character in this one, which makes it
And
a
also,
bit
Whippet
harder.
established that long-standing respect by having her wear her mother's striper t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so glad that you came out with a fucking Whip It deep cut. Oh my god, it's mad respect for you right now.
Yeah, we got taken to that movie. I think I enjoyed it a bit more than you did.
Oh, yeah, I hated it.
Really? God, I fucking love Whip It. You know why? Because I goddamn lived it. My
Yeah.
name's Ellen. I did roller derby when I was underage. And on my big roller derby event, I had a big family event as well. And I had to get my dad to like strong arm my mum into letting him go. Anyway,
What was your name? What was your name? What was your name? What was your name?
Ellie Bean.
It's not as aggressive as I was hoping.
Yeah.
I was hoping for like
sorry.
Ellen Degenerate or something.
No, it
It
already
was
taken. It was taken.
You hacks.
Television.
Oh, L on
Oh.
wheels.
Oh.
Yes.
But yeah, seeing as though, we're all practically been covering the heart question as well. Just backing up what you were saying, Sean, about Grandpa and Homer and Bart and his kids, there was a really good point to be made about, the sort of generation jump of, liking your grandfather but not your dad. And it's something that the Simpsons have actually established before, that Bart and Grandpa actually have a very good relationship.
Yeah. In one of my favorite episodes. So I forget what it's called, but it's the Hellfish episode.
Oh, yeah.
like-
Raging Abe Simpson and his grumbling grandson in The Curse of the Flying Hellfish.
I knew it was a big fuck off title,
Jesus,
so I
is
didn't even
that really
try.
the...
Yeah.
Oh my
Yep.
god. Bye, Fallout Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like quite often Bart and Grandpa bond over their kind of dislike for Homer.
Yeah. So it's surprising that they didn't lean into it more. And it's weird because it was a very packed episode, but I agree. It's like there wasn't really a central character, and I didn't get a very good sense of a concrete story going on here.
Yeah. It's hard as well with those narratives because it's like someone needs to be the bridge and do the compromise. And so like, you either have the Whip It thing where it's like, it's going to be the daughter kind of opening up to the mother or like reconciling with the mother, or it's going to be the mother reconciling with the daughter. But like, with these things of Bart and his sons, Lisa and her daughter, Lisa and Marge, Bart and with all these dynamics, it's not really quite clear, and as a result, no one really gets a time to shine.
And it's also because the framing device of the episode is different than things like Lisa's wedding or the one where she becomes president, where both times we're introduced to that through Lisa. She either goes to the fair and meets the person, or she goes to the Indian casino and looks at the fire. So like the framework is set there, whereas this is just we are introduced to that through the entire family just suddenly
Time
going through the
passing,
years.
yeah.
Well, they're deliberately potentially saying there is no central character, but because of that, it's harder to get a tangible grip on where the fulcrum of the episode is.
But I think both my kind of favorite thing of this episode and also the thing that really lets me down is I really like the setup of all that character drama, but the payoff, it's all just landing. There's no hurdle. They just go from start to finish, and there's no in between to really kind of gel those two together.
Yeah.
It's setting up that there's conflict, but they don't see them working through it. It's just, here's a conflict and we're resolving it, sort
Pretty
of thing.
much.
Yeah.
But how about on the other side of that, the wackiness of this episode?
So crazy.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. The pets are now superior beings.
We can all hear thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a weird
Although
setup, yeah.
That is like a callback to like my favorite fucking Simpsons joke where it's like Homer can hear Bart's thoughts.
Meow,
Yeah.
meow, 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 meow. Oh, it's the most childish joke, but I fucking love it. And the invisibility cloak. Now, where did I put it?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it so much.
Yeah, I recently picked up a deck of like item cards for D&D, and the card for Invisible Cloak has no picture.
Amazing.
And I'm like, well done, you cheap bastards.
I love the fucking RoboCop, like the Quickie Mart getting robbed,
Oh.
and Apu not only having a legion of children as an army, also his anger and confusion about like this is a cashless society.
Yeah.
What are you
What do you
gonna
want?
rob?
And that's the
and
wackiness,
then
yeah.
Apu later in the episode, his octuplets had octuplets.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts. Of
There are
course you would.
64 babies.
Of course you would put them all onto the fucking
And
grandparents, though.
Sanjay is bovine? Question mark? No.
No.
Yeah.
I like that there's like a little multicultural holiday episode that we have a bit of Hinduism in there as well.
Oh, yeah, because it's like out the front of their city hall or whatever. They've got the
Yeah.
various holograms
Yeah,
cycling
so
through
there's
the different
that.
things.
There's Hanukkah. I like that the one for atheism is just no.
No.
yeah.
Not available. There's court mandated security chips. No, sorry. Court mandated
Sincerity.
sincerity chips. I wrote security chips. That's incorrect.
And let's not forget bloody Prince Harry.
Oh.
He brought back beheading in a big way.
In a big way. Well, I mean, the way that capitalism is going right now, I say, bring it on.
It started with Brexit.
It's funny because, this episode would have been written in the time that Prince Harry was still a bit of a wild child and stuff. So,
Checks out.
yeah.
Oh, the pacifier.
Yeah, you know what it reminded? It's not too far off though, because I have never experienced this because I've never really been in hospital in a serious way. But like, one of my friends really fucked up their leg in a bad way, and they have a whistle
Mm-hmm. They do. Yeah.
that gives you morphine. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
oh, yeah.
And I'm what if they
A
just make a
whistle?
Oh, it's a green whistle. I forget.
Green.
It is it's a green whistle which I couldn't take. So they
Oh.
injected morphine straight into my veins, and it was glorious.
Yeah.
Have morphine, kids.
But basically, like it's
drugs.
it's a little whistle, and you just breathe in, and
Yeah.
it's basically like
Instantaneous.
instant morphine. And I'm like,
Oh.
what if they just did that with
Yeah,
pacifiers?
it's God's juice.
I don't think you can have morphine while you're giving birth, though.
Let's say no.
Well, because, they have fentanyl lollipops as well. So, it isn't too far-fetched. But, it's funny because, they did that. And as well with the whole, pretending Maggie is Mary and stuff. And it's like,
Yeah,
she just did a concert in Beijing. An instant
Star in
star.
the East.
yeah. Some of those jokes, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
really? Come on. Although having said that, as a former Catholic, it does make me kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like deep cut Jesus jokes do make me fucking laugh because I'm like, I did 12 years of studying at Catholic school and I better be able to make literal God tier memes right now, you know?
Were you also into Striper?
Look, I don't want to get into my teenage years.
Totally.
But ultimately, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yeah.
I think it did. Yeah,
I say
absolutely.
for jokes, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a latter era Simpsons. I don't
Yeah.
agree with What's-His-Face's take that it could be a classic episode.
No, it's very much a product of its decade. Like, it's
Yeah.
very manic in that sort of way. And it's not something that you'd go, oh, what? This wasn't
Yeah.
season 7? What do you mean?
But definitely
Yeah.
good effort. And,
Yeah.
the things I like about it, I really like. And it's not that I'm like, oh, man, those emotional things were really handled in a stupid fucking shit way. It's
They're
more
just like,
it's more just like
Could have been better.
They didn't really do it, and if it had been, then it would have been a stellar episode. It would have been fucking amazing. But as is, it's fun.
yeah.
You know?
No, they can't all be Lisa's wedding, but, it's definitely not replaceable you.
Yeah.
And you know what? Their characters act the way their characters should. Like, it makes total sense to me that Bart is now he's living at his school and he's paying rent
That is
to
hilarious.
his former teacher. Yeah, like that totally checks out. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, I didn't like this bit. I thought it was like a really lazy way to shoehorn Skinner into the episode for a not that great joke.
I mean, it is a nice, quick way to say
Your tuition's due.
Bart's a bit of a
Yeah.
deadbeat, but yeah.
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 Skinner's back and forth could have been punchier. It wasn't bad, but
I did like the fact that, you know, if the school has been remodeled into like a living space, but they haven't done anything, like
No.
it's still
No.
the same. And as a result, Bart has just changed like the decor. He opens up the desk and he's turned it into like an esky.
A
The
desky.
pens.
Desky. The coffee
know
sharpener.
what
The,
like,
yeah, the pencil sharpener is for grinding coffee beans, which would that work? I don't know.
Let's
definitely
try
don't. No, I definitely don't want to try it.
The school's always had a shitty budget. Like, it's always been a shitty public school.
It makes
so,
sense
yeah.
that they would try and subsidize in the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah, and especially in a future Jump episode when we're talking about character integrity, it's sort of a weird question to ask, you know, are they still the characters? Because they've obviously got to evolve. For Homer, at least, as well, I do like that he's sort of mellowed out a bit and, you know, he had
Me
a great
too.
relationship with his grandsons and he quit drinking as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about him struggling to not drink. Every time we've ever had Homer quit drinking, it's been about that. And this was just a fact. Oh, he's quit drinking.
Yeah.
I also liked the gag of, and it's just like a simple sight gag, but when we're cycling through all the years with the Christmas photos, once Bart and Lisa have like left the nest, they do what all fucking like old couples do and just go on holidays, just go on like
Yeah.
stupid fucking holidays. And I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. Also that one of Abe's insults to Homer is Marge lovin'.
Marge lovin'.
I
Yeah.
love that. It's so cute.
Yeah. Just going to ask about, any of the other characters. Do you think anyone was particularly off or?
I feel like you're leading to something.
Yeah.
Lenny
why
and
do you-
Carl made sense to me.
Oh, yes. 100%.
Such a stupid joke, and I loved it so much.
I found a happy medium.
You were there for the brain swapping.
Oh, this was
that
so
seemed-
weird.
Yeah.
That
And then his
seemed
wife was in a
correct.
monkey's brain? What?
Oh,
Yeah.
so good. Mo
Most-
won't change up the place because it's just so many people have died there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
exact
enjoyed
same.
that. Very on point for Mo.
Mr. Burns asking to release the hounds. They're all long dead at that point. It also made sense that not only would he order that, but Smithers, even knowing that the dogs are very dead at this point,
will do
still
it.
carries it out and just stands there until they leave.
Krusty's got a shitty, serious talk show now about nothing. Like he's just getting more kind of
Yeah.
grouchy and
Seems like when Kevin Spacey did that weird.
Oh, let me be frank.
Yeah, that was the vibe for me.
It's just nothing about that was what's the opposite of ill-conceived. Like it was all ill-conceived.
it
Sorry,
was all yeah.
and it
yeah.
came out on Christmas Eve. Like what the?
Well, did you not get Christmas cheer from that?
Good tiding. I think he was banking on maybe good Christmas cheer.
Yeah, but yeah, this Krusty bit as well. Like it amused me not for it reason itself, but just because my dad is like 3 people left in the world who still has a working fax machine. And he was complaining the other week. He's like, I've faxed the NAB like 5 times now, you know, with the risk. And it's like, their fax machine probably isn't working.
Yeah, you're faxing to the ether. Yeah.
Faxing into the ether.
Yeah, it's just yeah. Someone's getting it, maybe.
Amazing if you had the last fax machine left on Earth and you just faxed and just didn't know where it went.
No.
Uh,
And
like
then
a very-
still got a reply.
Very weird dystopian
Oh.
sci-fi novel where, you've got the last fax machine, but then someone faxes you and you're like, but from where?
It's the Lake House 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Not now, but I will.
I'm going to make you watch a different episode now.
Yeah, I think I might.
Yeah, I think it passes the grade for me. And, you know, we like to think about if we'd watch the episode again, what playlist would this go in?
Christmas.
Yeah. Or
Well, I mean, besides the obvious future episodes, well, I don't know how many would make the cut with that one, but
yeah.
Mm.
Family
Yeah, like-
dynamics.
yeah, Marge Lisa episode or like family,
Yeah.
like sibling parent episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Deep cuts to whip it.
A very, very niche like fucking folder that you put this episode in.
Actually, come to think of it, Simpsons haven't done a roller derby episode yet. Only a
Nice.
matter
Really?
of time.
So
Really?
whack. And yet
Oh,
here I
yeah.
am as a voice actor.
Not gonna lie, Marge on roller derby sounds
Yeah,
sick.
Oh, you know what?
Actually,
They've done a comic. They've done a comic.
Going to say, I've definitely seen a comic where Marge is a roller girl.
We brought it up in a Shut Up episode. Yeah, Marge joined a roller derby squad.
Yeah, that'd be really good
go.
for her, actually. I reckon I've met a few Marge Simpsons doing roller derby.
You Marge lovin'.
I'm just a Marge loving gal. What can I say?
And Sean, I'll start with you. What would you like to change about this episode?
What would I like to change about this episode? Look, it's kind of what we've been talking about. Is I just want to put, even if it's just a scene or a minute, something that can justify kind of the ending moments, especially between kind of the male side of it. Like getting to that point at the end where you've got Bart and his sons and Homer and his father. Like, I just want to earn that beat a lot more on both sides, to be perfectly honest. I want to earn... No, you know what? Scrapple that. Marge and Lisa, their reconciliation. And Marge actually being the catalyst for Lisa to realize, oh, this is what I've been doing this whole time to my mum. That makes sense. Okay, now I know how to approach fixing things with my daughter. Yeah, there you go. We got there in the end.
How about you, Ellen? What would you like to change?
Similar kind of thing. Like, I just need you either cut one of them or make them all super tight. Maybe not all of them are going to have a great payoff. Like, I don't think that Lisa really needs to go too far in terms of reconciling with Marge, because Marge is the symbol of, like, unconditional love. And, you know, her being like, oh, get in the bed, sweetie. I've been waiting all my life for you to hear that, you know, I did an okay job at parenting.
Yeah.
That's not the hard part. The hard part is Lisa clocking that with her daughter and realizing what she did to Marge. And I think it could have been a stronger moment, definitely. And I think there didn't need to be a reconciliation with Homer and Abe. I think, honestly, if Homer had just unfrozen Abe and let this kind of... Because they do have quite an abusive relationship. Like, Abe has said some horrible... Like, they both said horrible things to each other, you know. But it's one of the most kind of honest things of The Simpsons that we realize that Abe's mistreatment of Homer has made Homer, you know, feel cold towards him or feel angry, and like then he takes out that anger on Bart, and it's like
Homer had an awful childhood,
all cyclical. And like, I think maybe if he had just unfrozen and let Abe abuse him, that it might have been kind of nice to see Bart's sons realize that just on their own, to go,
oh, I don't want to end up like that.
I don't want this to be us, you know?
Yeah.
And come to that realization of their own volition, as opposed to Homer kind of like forcing that message upon them, and then also reconciling with Abe. I think that's far too gone at this point.
And it doesn't even need to be like a full tire bow on it. It can just be, oh, you know what? We have a lot of work to do, but we don't want to end up like that. So let's all make a better effort to...
Yeah, it doesn't need to be like I'm going to be better sons. It's more just like, hey, we're glad that we get to spend Christmas with your dad.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that's...
And Homer, give your father the cure. Like, fuck.
That was grim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's me.
Yeah.
How about you, BT? What would you like to change?
I think we're all going to say the same thing, because the jokes are quite on point on this one. It's just that heart moment. How exactly? I'd have to pore over it again. But I think the big divide between Lisa and Marge was always that Lisa is into things that is just very foreign and very alien to Marge, and that's where they have, you know, had trouble seeing eye to eye. So have the same thing with her daughter when we first meet. What's her daughter's name? Zoe?
Zia.
Zia.
We first meet Zia, just have her be a brat who just plugs in and ignores her mother. But then maybe over time you find out that she's tried to explain what she's doing online, and Lisa doesn't understand it and doesn't see the value in it. She's like... So when Lisa plugs in, she sees her daughter is actually being very successful and is really engaged with a wide spread of people. And it's just that continuation of, you're into something I don't understand, but I respect that you love this, even if I don't get it, and I'm here to back you up, as per always. Just something a little more concrete, because what's there is kind of floaty, and, you know, just tie it down.
Well, yeah, because piggybacking off that is exactly like around the area that I want to change, is because it's another one of these things where the Simpsons feel like they're just commenting on a thing like, yeah, they plug in and then the kid goes, duh. Although I did love the animation of Zia plugging in, just slamming her head against the
head, yeah.
And a drool has binary in it.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, we don't get a real sense of what she's doing in there.
Yeah, because we go and she's just in a dorm room, effectively. It's like, wait, is she supposed to be at online university? Because that's a thing.
Yeah. But then she was sort of shutting out a party so Lisa couldn't see it. Sort of felt like it was undercutting that a little bit as well. Like, I don't know, maybe if she was working on an art project as well that could only exist in an internet space.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised with how much this sort of seemed like the Futurama idea of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's J. Stewart Burns
Yeah.
as well. He's a
Yeah.
Futurama writer, so...
Oh, that's right.
And it is hard to depict the internet without... You need to kind of do something that's a bit... allows us to still explore the world kind of like through a person as opposed to just, websites
Or just-
and whatnot.
explain something in a way that we can still understand.
Yeah. No, for real. Yeah, all right, we're here. Sean, starting with you. Any final notes?
Oh, final notes. Let me have a time for Sean's final notes.
Wink.
So a few final gags that I really liked. Number one, just because I just relate to it on a very deep level, sassy Siri. Basically Siri talking to Kearney, or the equivalent of the GPS anyway. Just because I have my Siri is British male Siri. And when Siri asks, is there something that you want to talk about? And I say, no, it's all right, Siri. Siri's response is, and it's said exactly like this, okay then. It's like, fuck.
You can hear the full stop. That's
You
amazing.
don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
But unnamed kids, I don't know their names. It smells like dog, but there's no dog. And the little light about, they still haven't figured out a cure for detangling lights.
Yeah, that's nice.
How about you, Ellen? Any other notes?
Yeah, this could have gone into what I would have changed, but the when Homer, because you receive emails in your brain now, B-mails, and Homer clicks on a virus, he just goes,
We cringed.
Well, Sean was like, I was glad that didn't go where I thought it was, but I think it could have gone. I wished it had gone like,
I thought things were going to excrete out of
well,
him.
yeah, I thought blood was going to come out of his nose. I kind of hoped.
Yeah.
I kind of hoped it would. I don't know.
Excrete is an interesting choice of verb.
It's a visceral word, is it not?
I loved the misdirect gag of here's where my dad is, and it's a tombstone, but it's a sign for the cryogenic facility. It leads downstairs. I also liked. Are you making a snowman? No, I just like to wear my scarf, top hat, and eat my carrot while I smoke a pipe. It was just like
so
a nice,
silly.
nice, stupid joke. Which it's always the stupid ones that make you laugh.
Oh, and the death of many Ralphs.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
that made me
yeah.
sad.
Absolutely hated
It
this.
just reminded me of Mr.
because it
Meeseeks.
was another good misdirect because, Chief Wiggum. And, you think it's going to be Clancy, but it's Ralph.
I just like Ralph dying a lot.
You monster.
Oh God, there's so many of him though
There's
that
so
it kind
many.
of does become a bit comical.
It's like it's just like Mr. Meeseeks dying over and over.
It's mainly like the comedy comes from just how many fucking clones of Ralph are there?
And why are they all in the back of the...
No matter how many you make, it's never enough.
Oh God.
BT, any other notes?
I like Homer's misdirect on, I'm going to watch It's a Wonderful Life. I wonder what life would be like if I would never watch that movie. They mentioned having landing in person on the sun.
Yeah. Can land a person on the sun, but can't fix my allergies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A week from now, Homer's new penis will arrive.
And we're all excited for
I
that.
did not enjoy that.
What do you mean? Are you
Weird
saying
feels.
like
I'm happy with my penis.
well, yeah, but you're not like however old Homer is there.
I will still have my penis.
Yeah, but you could get a better one.
What? No such thing.
Because this was a joke that I was like,
This is
here we
Christmas
go with the
present
setup.
to Marge.
Let's have future sex. And
Yeah.
But Homer, it's not the future, it's the now. Of course. Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I laughed at the misdirect, but then I thought about it like, wait a second.
Reminds me of that song, Detachable Penis.
Deep cut.
When you get older, things don't work like they used to, you know?
Lean into it.
Why
Age
should
with-
Marge do all the work?
Age with bitter angriness. That's my plan.
Yeah.
They want to go to the park and ride the merry-go-nowhere,
Yeah.
which I
like
feel
that.
was a really good dig at, overprotective of kids and all that kind of thing. Merry-go-round doesn't even turn anymore.
Yeah.
I do like when Kearney's like, computer, hospital, and then it flies them to the computer hospital.
Yeah.
And my last note is a downer of just the kind of general lack of like transitional music from scene to scene and background music. It's something that's really prevalent in the HD era. And it bothers me.
Yeah, I actually have no memory of there being a score in this episode.
All the music just came out in the like, here's where you're meant to feel sentimental
Yeah,
now, which
yeah.
only added to the fact that I'm like, this could have been done better. Because if you're relying on music to get you there, then the writing
Then
and
it's not
setup
strong
is
enough.
not
No.
strong. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do a lot with silence. But even in something like Lisa's Wedding, there's like a science fiction version of the theme playing in transitions
Yeah.
and stuff, and it
Yeah.
just smooths those scene movements over a little bit, and it's not here, and it's really noticeable.
All right, it's time for my final notes.
Now it's time, and now it's time for his final notes. Elliot's final notes. I fucked up the falsetto.
No, it's all right. I sprung that on you when you were clearly thirsty and taking a drink. It's
Oh.
like, no, it's time for you to be a soundboard. There was a joke that actually caused a bit of controversy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Millhouse, why don't you go to Michigan? They're under Sharia law at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
There's a kind of prevalent Muslim community in Michigan, isn't there?
I didn't like that.
No, it's just, it's the whole thing with the alarmist Sharia law fucking bullshit with, and I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, that he has to wear a veil and like.
Yeah.
I was just like, that's really shit. And also not what Sharia law anyway.
Yeah, because I was right, because it was inspired by a controversy over the growing Islamic influence in the city of Dearborn, Michigan, which has
That's
a
right.
significant Muslim
Yeah.
community. Yes,
but
I was right.
I mean, you could have even just done it like I know Ramadan, but it does not line up with that kind of holiday time. But like,
Yeah.
it could have just been that, where it's like, I'll just go there because it's not really a big Christianity area. Like, I don't know. It's just,
Yeah, being allergic to mistletoe and holly and all that sort
The
of
red
stuff.
stripes on
the red
candy
part of a
cane.
candy cane, yeah.
yeah.
Damn it, that is a good joke too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That joke
didn't need to
was
be
not
there.
good.
No.
Apparently Homer killed Edna and Ned married Maud Ghost.
Yeah, so I'm assuming this was before the voice actor died.
Oh yeah, this is 2 years before Marsha Wallace actually passed away and they wrote her out of the show.
Oh.
That's right. Oh.
Do you want to go see 68% of Cher?
Hey man, Cher is all natural.
Yeah, all 68% of her.
I too really enjoyed Mad Max Airlines as well, and like the
so
food
good.
cart as well, like Turkey Brie Club. Oh, can I have the
Suicide
dog
pills.
food? Suicide pills.
Yeah,
Leave the can.
gyrocopter from the second movie rocks up next to him and he just shoots
Oh,
him.
yeah.
It's the guy on top of this.
It would have been better if he was playing a bass guitar, hung up like a puppet,
Yes.
with flames and everything.
The Doof Warrior.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite jokes actually from the episode was the final Christmas card as well, that at the bottom said, "And a morphistic quiz knock to all our friends from Rigel 7.
Yes.
Very good. All right, it's time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode is just meh, you give it participant, but for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. And I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Let me show you how it's done.
He's going any minute now.
He's gone. He's gone.
Look, I was close to silver, but I'm just giving it a bronze. Like, it's right on the border, but, because of my own rules, I have to fucking make a call here. I don't think it did enough story-wise, but, the jokes were really good. And as well, this was actually... They were going through a bit of contract negotiations at the time of this episode being produced, and this was intended that if season 23 was their last, this would be the final episode. And honestly, I think it would have been a fitting final, but, existing as it is in the fact that The Simpsons have now gone on for another 50 years, it's a fine episode. Ellen, your turn.
I'm probably going to say the same rating. It's okay. It's fun and it's good, and I really laughed a lot, but, you also don't need to do that much to make us laugh. They're clever enough and they're good enough that, it's really with the speed and the tenacity of the jokes, and also, that they do make some kind of weird sense when they do. But for me, it was just lacking a lot of heart in what should have been probably a really heartfelt episode. But it was really fun and it was really good, and I was really kind of set to not enjoy myself since it is a late era Simpsons episode, and it made me kind of happy that they still got it. They still can make really funny stuff. However, I know that they're aware of making really funny and really emotional, stirring stuff. And if they had brought in just a little bit more I would have given it gold, or if it had been really good, obviously higher. But yeah, bronze.
All right, BT.
Yeah, I'm going to stay the trend and go with the bronze as well. Good jokes, and I mean, the heart doesn't really land in this one, but unlike other ones where the heart doesn't land, which feel lazy, this one just feels like it didn't quite get it right. But I think it tried, and that makes all the difference. And there are some great moments. I mean, like we said, Bart and Lisa in the treehouse is a great little moment. Even without that, great heart landing, the jokes still hold up quite well. So, surprised as I am to say it, bronze.
Sean, finish it off.
I'm on a solid silver. I think this is a better episode than just okay. I think there's a lot going for it, and I think that kind of similar to the way I kind of view Futurama episodes, where I take the different parts of what makes a really quintessentially great Futurama episode. So, the heart, the sci-fi, the comedy, and now especially in the second run, the animation, the visual side of it. I think that while this episode doesn't hit the mark with, say, a lot of the landings and a lot of the emotional poignancy that they can get towards the tail end of the episode, it's brought up by the humor. It's really solid writing and it's funny, and we were having a lot of fun the whole way through. And I think that that's enough that I can forgive some of the shaky endings that it does have. And like to that end, it's why I haven't given it, say, a gold. I think if they really hit those emotional beats and really kind of stuck the landing, I think it's a really fucking great episode. But no, for me, it's a solid silver, and I'll just be talking ad nauseum about the reasons I like it, but silver.
All right, cool. Well, averaging out, that'll be a shiny bronze, which honestly, that feels nice for it. And it'll
Shiny.
be the third episode from season 23 to be called a shiny bronze.
Really?
It'll be joined by the man in the blue flannel pants, which is like Homer doing a Mad Men sort of parody episode-ish. And also the book job, which is Bart and Homer and Neil Gaiman doing a big book heist, which
Jesus.
Yeah.
What?
you guys haven't seen it, obviously.
No.
I
Man.
adore this episode.
Yeah.
I was the silver on that one.
By the way,
did I like
the
bronze?
book job is also written by Dan Weber, who is a Futurama writer as well.
Fuck yeah.
Ah, there we go.
Also, Neil Gaiman is just like amazing. He's like such a fun dude.
Oh, and fuck yeah. And the man in the blue flannel pants was done by Jeff Westbrook, who is also a Futurama alum. So all your good episodes in this season are by us Futurama kids over here.
Us Futurama
Us,
kids.
we are also writers.
Yeah, you know us.
What up? I'm Jeff
Part of the
Westbrook,
team.
bitch.
All right, and before we move on, we must ask, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified?
Hayden Childs of the AV Club?
Hayden, that's a child. I don't know, do we have one for her? Him?
No.
Hayden? Whatever.
I don't even know if it is a her or him. Let's go with the gender neutral. They gave this an A, which is like our equivalent of gold or something. And they say, Holidays of Future Past found a sweet spot that combined a barrage of non-stop jokes with a tenderness often lacking in latter-day Simpsons episodes. There is even a conversation between the adult Bart and Lisa that rings surprisingly true for adult siblings wrestling with their shared familial past.
I mean, they said a lot of similar things that we said. I guess our scale is just a bit different. And also, I think it's maybe I'm a bit tougher, but I'm like, I know what the Simpsons crew can do. So it's like,
Yeah.
fucking, you don't impress me by making me laugh. You make me laugh all the time. God damn it.
They don't make me laugh all the time.
Well, no, not in like late era, but it
Cool
should
boy.
like, you know what I mean, where it's like, I know that you're capable of writing really, really great stuff. So
it's just the interesting thing because I think this is written really well. I really think this is a solid episode, like solidly written all the way. I think that, I think y'all are harder on it than you need to be. That's all I'm saying. I'm with
controversial.
Screen Rant called it the best episode of a 23rd season.
That's probably not that much of a stretch. Although, actually, no, I put the book job way over this one. Just, you guys have got to watch it. Neil Gaiman's amazing in that episode.
Overhype it, but yes, Neil Gaiman is great.
I will overhype anything I want. So now, because of my confusing two-part episode structure, we're moving on to a different episode with a different lineup, but make sure you tune back in next week to hear our thoughts on the second part of this future jump from the HD era with the Shut Up and Take My Podcast crew when we do Days of Future Future.
I am so confused.
We'll be back.
That is all the mustard in the house.
Fine.
And we are back, and we're here for the Teens Era portion of our two-parter special. So, for the part one of the Teens Era, I am joined by Claire RR,
Hi, Elliot.
Jordan Frost,
Hello.
Danny Rosewell,
I'm Danny Rosewell.
And here, as always, except when he's not, BT Calloway.
This microphone is tickling my mustache.
Say that 5 times fast.
Mustache.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed already, listeners at home, Beach has continued way past November, and he's still rocking that hairy slug on his lip.
But fully supported by the rest of the cast members here because it looks amazing.
I am undecided.
It does.
He's like Raul.
Who's Raul?
Julia?
No, his name's Gomez.
You're not helping. Gomez is played by an actor called
Raul Julia.
Raul Julia.
Roll Julia. Not Raul.
Not
Roll.
Raul. Roll.
Like roll, like Paul, you know?
I do know Paul.
No, it's Powell.
Julia. No, it's Julia.
Anyway, we just watched Season 10, Episode 10, Viva Ned Flanders, first released in January of 1999. It was directed by Neil Affleck, no relation, written by David M. Stern, yes relation. In this episode, this is the episode where it's revealed that Ned is 60 and Homer helps him to live his life to the fullest and they go to Vegas and get Vegas wives. Now, before I ask you guys, what did you think? Just the reason why I picked for this particular group to do this episode. Now, last time we did a 2-part special, we looked at the duo of Maud passing away episodes.
We sure did.
And I think these 2 episodes, Viva Ned Flanders and what we're going to be doing next week, Brawl in the Family, the Vegas Wives duo of episodes, which kind of happen near and around this time with Ned and Maud, and I think, are also a part of that story. So, with that out of the way, hey guys, what did you think?
Pretty good, but not as much fun as I remembered.
I think that if Flanders was 60 in January 99,
He's already in the time loop.
he's almost 81 now.
Yeah, would be if it weren't for time loop.
So he was born in the 40s? 39.
That's way older than I thought he would be. I mean, when you actually put it into the year that he was born compared to the year that the episode came out, that seems insanely a really long time ago because I still think of Ned Flanders as the age he is today, you know?
Yep, old silly Billy Ned.
Yep, glass of milk on the side for dipping. Sorry, my apologies. Glass of water. On
Water?
the side
Oh
for
my
dipping.
God, milk. What is he?
Wild man.
A Protestant?
Oh, we'll get there.
Jordan?
It had a collection of bits that I remember. But the overarching story is, I don't know, it's kind of nothing.
I gotta say, this episode, it started out a lot slower than I think you put it good. It wasn't as fun as I remembered. And
Superman puts it good.
Fuck. The ball didn't really get rolling until Vegas. But yeah, let's hook into the questionnaire and do a deep dig into this episode. A deep chop, dig.
Hey!
Claire,
Nice.
for better or worse, what stands out to you?
Well, I always like Flanders and Homer episodes generally, like the ones where he becomes really good friends with Flanders is always one of my
The
favorites.
original Odd Couple, aren't they?
Yeah. I suppose the interaction between Flanders and his family really stood out to me. It shows that they're actually quite a nice, normal little family. I mean, we get a few perspectives from The Simpsons, when the Simpsons kids go to live with the Flanders and they come off as weirdly creepy, making
So
cucumber
clean, it's
sandwiches and
creepy.
but this was just nice and wholesome where Maud's really supportive of Flanders and the kids know him well and it just seemed really
True.
nice.
Yeah.
I like that part of it.
But I do like how they inadvertently drive the point home for Ned. He's
Yeah.
all like, oh, well,
Yeah.
seems like those people at church were making fun of old steady Neddy. And they're just like, oh, some people like crunchy peanut butter, some like smooth. Some people like to avoid that altogether. Just plain white bread with a glass of
Just
water on the side for dipping. And it's and that's when he breaks and it's like, gosh, darn it, am I that pre-diddly-ictable?
But yeah, that's almost like his catchphrase in the household.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's maybe not just his morning bread that's applied to. He's dipping water.
And there's a visual reprise as well when he walks into the kitchen and there's just a glass of water next to some bread.
Is there? Oh, I missed that
Yeah.
entirely. How about you, Jordan? What stands out to you for better or worse?
It's kind of dumb. Basically, Tony Martin had a show on Triple M ages ago.
For our non-Australian audience, Triple M is a radio channel station.
Anyway, they used to do a competition where they try and get people to do impressions, and they were often very bad. And I remember they were trying to get people to do a Marge impression, and the line, "Now it's Marge's time to shine," was the
contest line.
Yeah, that was the one you had to replicate. So when this came up, I had to stop and think for 20, 30 seconds and not pay attention because I was thinking about how bad all the people were trying to do Marge impressions back in the early 2000s or late
Now
90s
it's
or whenever
Jordan's
it
time
was.
to shine.
Yeah, do it, Jordan. Do the impression.
Anyway, so
Come on, man, you could
that
win
was
a
a bit
free set
that
of steak
stood out.
knives.
Can you shut up and let me talk?
It's Jordan's time to shine.
Yeah,
pretty
so basically that's what I thought about, and that's what stood out most because it was stuck out worthy.
No, I had one of these moments when we reviewed Bart Carney where the rich texts and goes, "You're gonna work like you never worked before." That was in like a Triple M during Club Veg. It was in like the start of the work drive hour or something on their program. So it was like, yeah, have Triple M on at work with Club Veg radio.
Yeah, and they do those like little audio montages of like different bits from TV that you recognize.
All the
and-
vignettes and
Yeah.
like, it's a Family Guy bit, but that on the radio, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and all the little words, like, word on the radio, what? Oh my God.
You're
that-
gonna work now. It's Marge's time to
Yeah.
How
Okay.
about you, Danny? What stands out to you for better or worse?
Chop, chop, dig, dig. Chop, chop, dig, dig. Chop.
You know, Shag, there's a lot more that two Ys could do for you than just...
I hear digging, but I don't hear chopping.
That is a line that weirdly has just stuck with me
I
forever.
think that's just one of those, earworms that you can't get rid of. Like, Lisa needs braces. You're never going to unhear that.
But that Homer, in his own fantasy, was oblivious to Marge's, like, suggestive anyway.
Yeah, Marge was totally trying
Well,
to put out.
Even then, his own fantasy, the beast sings his nose like,
But I like that it's
Why is the
the thing that's wrong with the whole scenario is that he will get stung by a bee. It's not anything to do like
Yeah.
that's what he's like. Oh my god, that
Oh my
two
God, I
wives
thought
is
this out.
terrible.
I'm going to get stung by a bee if I go through with this. Oh, no!
It's not too late to stop it.
But what does stand out to you?
Chop, chop, dig, dig.
Yeah, geez, man. I mean, seriously, I thought I had a solid answer there. I kind of liked Homer and Nettie waking up in like the Hangover hotel room. That clearly hinted at an incredible night that just wasn't explored at all. They went straight to the
Yeah, Simpsons did it. Sorry, Hangover.
Yeah.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Vegas did it.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah.
And The Simpsons
Yeah.
did Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
episode.
Too many kids.
Another one that Simpsons did it is at tablets. When they take the order, the women in the bar,
Yeah.
she's got like a tablet that's supposed to look like a stone tablet, but she's using it like a tablet,
He
like an
asks for
iPad.
2 of these, and she presses 2 different buttons, though.
Yeah, so you press the drink
Item,
and
then
then
multiply.
multiply, yeah.
Someone's never
someone-
worked service.
Wouldn't you just press the drink and get 2 of the same?
What if you need
Yeah.
14?
No, that's not how it works.
But
they-
drink,
but they
drink,
don't-
drink,
they-
drink, 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 drink,
They don't
drink,
need
drink.
14.
You don't know that. This is Vegas, man. Shit gets wild like that, I assume.
All right. So, Elliot, what stands out to you for better or worse?
Well, you skipped over to the man that's here as always, except when he's not.
No, we don't need order. This is
Oh,
chaos, man.
we're
It's
gonna need
Vegas.
order?
Anything goes. Put it all on black.
I think Katoomba is about as opposite to Vegas as you get.
The listeners can't hear what order we're sitting in.
I don't know. You have to look at it this way. We're all really drunk and have been drinking since like 10 a.m. So
Oh,
this is
God,
kind of
really
like
drunk?
Vegas.
Woo! And I did draw a poker machine before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an arcade cabinet at all. Okay, 2-in joke. BT, what stands out to you for better or worse?
I like that not only was the Birds Casino being destroyed, it was also part of the plot because then when Homer's deciding something impulsive to do,
Yeah.
he's like, we're going to break the bank at the Monty Burns Casino. They blew that up yesterday. Oh, they were going to Vegas, which is actually back that way. Yeah, great little back and forth there.
I actually really like that because that's one of the few times where they've taken a couple of bites at the apple and I've really enjoyed it.
yeah,
and it's worked. And I think it's because they spaced it out a bit, yeah.
And then
And
it
it was
also-
sort of good timing as well, because we only just recently reviewed that episode as
Yeah.
well. Sorry you guys weren't there for that one. That was a very
Yeah,
good episode.
that's a good episode.
Was that Gambler's Neon Claws?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Sorry, I gave it to Peter Zaluzny.
Zaluzny,
Yeah.
that gorgeous blonde bastard.
Yep. Although I think what I'm mainly going to point out is 2 little bits to let you know a lot about Vegas. One is, Saturn Nights playing the hits of the Moody Blues, opening act, the Moody Blues.
Yeah, savage ass.
I also like that they're staying at Nero's palace because if you know your history, Nero killed a lot of Christians. Just so many.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
that's it. That was his deal. So they legitimately thought he may have been Satan back in the day.
I do think Nero's palace would be way more fun than Caesar's palace, though.
I want to go to Cirque du Buffet.
Yeah.
I want to go to that one where they put the lions and the zebras on the roller coaster.
Yes.
They did not look like they were having fun.
That's not the point. I'm having fun.
I think their portrayal of Vegas was pretty good as well, and that's what stands out to me is because this is where I really start enjoying the episode. And speaking of callbacks to previous episodes, we get a reappearance of Lance Murdoch.
I really like that little scene, and that also sort of perfectly described Homer's complete inability to give a fuck about anyone else besides himself.
So self-absorbed.
And also a really nice little nod to the like, he's okay, folks, when he's clearly not.
They've not even checked yet.
While he's still getting defibrillated.
Lord.
You know, how could you improve on the original Lance Murdoch scene with like piranhas and electric eels and the king of the jungle?
Well, he's gone through the ring of fire. He's passed the ring of ice. He's cleared the dog-do stick. He's cracked the safe.
Yeah. But no, this was all great as well because, like, Ned made a great point here as Homer. I can't, go to death-defying stunts immediately.
From 0 to 30.
Which, I don't know miles that well, but that's probably 60 kilometers or something.
Yeah, around about
30 miles.
Yeah.
Is
70 odd.
5, like
Carry the one.
45 kilometers an hour.
Oh, wow. I was getting way too much.
No, it's not. It's not.
48. You were closest
Without
without going over.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, way
Come
off.
on down. Oh, I want to find out what is in a white wine spritzer.
Isn't it white
Spritzer
wine and like soda water?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wait, white wine and soda water.
That's what
It's
I
the
thought.
heaviest fucking drink you're ever going to have, man. That
Oh
will
my
knock
God.
you on your
You're
fucking...
right. This is like the wine version of a shandy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like the ice cream flavors that they have, essentially.
It's a watered down wine.
It's like instead of ice cream, you have,
It's only a
mint.
step above a Shirley Temple, which he was also about to
yeah.
water.
Although, speaking of earworms, the white wine spritzer is always stuck in my head as well.
Yeah. Well, it makes it sound refreshing as well.
Like an apple
It probably
tea.
would be.
And that terrible band, Oakley Dokley Do, have a song called White Wine Spritzer, and it's not very good.
Hey,
hey,
don't you knock it unless...
I've listened to it, which I have. Therefore, I will knock it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Just to clarify, the band is called O'Killy Dokilly.
It's even worse.
Yeah.
Get better, band.
Yeah. Play count. How many times have we all seen this episode before?
Oh, like probably 50.
A handful, I think.
Oh, flashbacks worth.
Snake Eyes. Everybody loses.
Wait, is that 2 or 11?
I don't know, man.
Oh.
That's wild.
I'm pretty sure he just said craps, everybody loses, which could have just been him swearing. Crap, everybody loses.
Surely that's what the dealer wants, though.
Kind of asshole dealer do they employ?
Assholes.
Don't they just want dealers where everybody wins? Wouldn't that be a much happier experience?
Oh,
You're after wuss bets.
They'd get such better reviews on TripAdvisor.
I did like that at the beginning of, where was it? Loggins and Oates. What kind of music do they even play?
Crap rock.
No, Wuss Rock. That's the one.
Tapes. I still remember the last tape that I bought was in like one of those tapes bargains bins in Sanity. I know this is not going to make sense to anybody under 25. And it was Fuel's second album, Something Like Human.
Oh, wow. I once had No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom on tape.
Oh, that album bangs though.
I fucking know it
Fuel's
does.
second album does not bang.
Oh, okay.
I had Indian in the Cupboard on audiobook.
I love it. That's a children's classic, goddammit.
I used to sit up late and listen to love song dedications and then
Yes.
record like specific songs.
Oh, that was so cool.
Hi, welcome to Love Song Dedications with Richard Mercer.
Oh, I just want to send a song out to Tom. Oh, my God. I love him so much.
Okay, I think I heard that you want to hear Love Shack. Wackiness. Was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
You know what? I actually don't think it was super wacky. For a Vegas episode, it was pretty tame. The one wacky part, I think, like that was full on wacky, was the reference to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That was like out of the blue.
Yeah.
Complete visual shift.
Yeah, exactly. But the rest of it, I mean, because it's Vegas, you can get away with a lot. And the fight scene at the end, like, it was a bit crazy, but it kind of fit. It worked.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a Peter and the chicken fight or anything. It was just them huddling around Ned and Homer and pummeling them.
Yeah, but I do like Tigers and Tatum and Moody Blues
Implosion
also.
Explosion
Yeah.
was definitely wacky. Also, when the girls decide to marry Foghorn and Leghorn, and the tiger's like, here we go again.
That sucked.
That was pretty wacky.
I didn't get that joke when I was younger. I didn't realize it was
No.
because they were gay.
Oh yeah, another appearance of Gunther and Ernst.
The wackiness of that there's a specialized car wash that will like straighten and then snap off
I
your
did love
antenna.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
was wacky.
As though the car wash would work perfectly. It's like, no, we've got to fuck something up. Snap.
Actually, in that scene as well, I mean, I think Cletus side sketches are usually
Pretty bad.
yeah, but I did like this one. Who wants waxing?
Yeah.
And even the dog's into it.
Actually, real quick wackiness that I didn't really get or understand. Don Rickles gets like thrown from the exploding casino and then is like makes a racist joke about
Puerto Ricans.
stealing your hubcaps and us.
That's all of Don Rickles' jokes. He
All right.
sucks,
He
man.
clearly sucks.
Another like kind of wacky, but in a sad kind of way, is like that Ned just like tries to fucking hang himself in the room.
Yeah.
I think it worked with the joke,
Yeah.
though. Like, it wasn't just one of the Simpsons' modern bleak takes on depression and suicide. It was
She
actually
said,
like,
till death to us
till death do us part. I'm
And-
working on it.
and
You
then
know?
he's trying to
Homer's
kill
line
himself.
afterwards of, no, Ned, think of your wives.
I think you can do black humor as long as it's not taken too far.
Oh yeah, it just didn't seem very Ned-like. That's all.
Yeah.
It would be a sin.
I don't know. I think, he was having a rough week. Like, he's had one night in the town and somehow gotten married,
Yeah,
It's,
fair.
it's pretty rough.
Do you reckon all of that was just on that one drink that he had?
The one
No,
white wine
no, he-
spritzer.
In the wedding video, he has a glass in his hand. I'm pretty
That's
sure
true, he does.
And that
And
looks
a
like a
fucking
martini. So if he's gone from spritzers to martinis.
Yeah, and a fucking
That's gonna do
sexy ass chest as well, like where he's got all those chains on.
Oh yeah, that's some wackiness. He got like changed into like an Elvis suit and then changed back to get in the hot tub,
Yeah.
fully clothed.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to ruin an Elvis suit.
I've got to wash my clothes, obviously.
It was a rental.
So, it wasn't, by far, it was not the wackiest episode of The Simpsons. A few little wacky gags here and there, say for zoo animals in roller coasters and whatnot.
Oh man, it was
Well,
so good.
All right. Okay. Do you reckon that the meat and barbecue thing that Homer was doing on the roof counted as wacky?
It does,
Kind of,
but again,
yeah.
not outlandish.
Yeah, because it's still referenced and it carries on like, oh, who's going to clean this up? So it doesn't just vanish the next scene.
Yep. And it's
Yeah.
meant to be absurd. It's meant to be look at Homer living it up.
Look
all
at
the
how
time.
wacky he is, though. Absolutely wacky.
Time for some
If he
mesquite.
was doing that in season 1, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. But how about the heart in this episode? In an episode with a wedding, how was the heart?
kind of still non-existent. Like
Yeah, I
it
mean-
wasn't really about heart. It was just yeah.
It felt a little bit for Ned, who's kind of realized he's just never lived. It's not what it's about, but a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that was really the point of this
No.
episode at all. But I didn't feel the lack of heart either. It wasn't like it should have been there and it wasn't. They could have pushed it, but I actually think it would have made it cheesy. I don't think you could really force heart into this plot without bringing too much attention to how ridiculous the plot itself is.
Yeah.
You know,
Or the
it's-
fact that they both got married while they already have wives.
Exactly. Like if they'd had like some sort of big reunion at the end where like Homer, is up with Marge, like, oh, you're the only woman for me or anything. Like, it just didn't fit. It was better that they kind of just brushed it off and were like, all right, well, that chapter's closed. We just have to get home, lie to our wives, and everything goes back to normal.
Make up some story about aliens abducting us in the front of a Walmart.
And 100 spaceships, you're right. What I like is we were out buying them fabulous gifts, and then he's like, oh, what was the occasion? It distracts him. But when you come back, it's like, so we walked out of the Walmart.
Yeah.
It's like fabulous gifts from Walmart.
I feel like they invented the term gang probing as well.
I'm not happy about that. No.
It is an interesting visual that, what happened down there?
Dropped a thing, picked it up
Yeah.
all day long. Who gives a fuck?
What I liked about that scene is just Ned's resignation. Like, does it have to be gang probed? Like, firstly, he knows what that is.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he is aware of the world. He just chooses not to partake. And I
Yeah.
like that level of Ned Flanders, like, uptightness. It's not that he doesn't know everything. He's not innocent. He's been on this earth. He gets it. He just doesn't,
He's
he has a
60.
way of living,
Yeah. Chooses to purge it.
Exactly. And I think they've played him in other times where he doesn't know anything about anything and
Yeah.
he comes off as really ignorant, I guess.
Yeah. It's like when he's got the baseball cap, and it's like, show me your... and he covers their eyes because he knows what's next.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I felt a little bit of heart for the residents of Las Vegas with all their town pride.
Yeah.
2 people bailing out on their wedding.
Not in Vegas. Why don't you take your money elsewhere?
Although that's only seconds after they pretended to be God to keep somebody gambling.
Keep gaming.
Yep.
It means gambling. Keep gambling.
But ultimately, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yeah, everyone's on point. Like how we get to Ned's personal crisis makes sense, and Homer being a mentor for how to live in the impulse zone is absolutely something he can do.
You're living it here, man. You need to live down here.
Or the other line I really like of, how do you shut up that little voice that says think? Lisa? No, common sense. Oh, that.
I disagree.
Oh.
Bam. How you like them apples?
I like them like I like pistols at dawn.
Oh, thank God dawn's a while off.
Yeah.
Cross that bridge when we come to it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I didn't like the way that we got into the meat of the episode. I feel like there's a part where Homer's like, guess what, everybody? Ned's old.
Ah,
And
he's
everyone's
like Ned's a cheat.
yeah.
Yeah, not old. He doesn't care about old. He thinks he's cheating.
He thinks he's pretending to be old. Yeah,
cheating.
That's not where I'm going with this part anyway.
Well, that's where you started.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it is. You started wrong. Try again.
All right. Well, Ned's cheating. He's actually pretending to be old. Ned's like, no, I'm actually 60. And everyone else is like, wow, 60. Damn, son, you look incredible. Oh, you are a hot, sly fox. How do you do it? And Ned's like, oh, you, it's clean living in constancy, sweet constancy. And then he goes home and he's like, oh, I'm the worst, most boring person in the world. And the thing is that he's talking about things that he likes doing. They didn't do a shot of like, I only have bread with water. I hate bread with water. I just only have it every day despite it making me miserable because that's what I'm supposed to do for God. You know, he never showed that he was unhappy with his choices in
Yeah, it
life.
did.
No, I
Because
think-
everyone in the church is all like, what, you've never done anything? And they even say, well, you're 60 years old, you never lived a day in life. And then the drive home, he's all like, it sounds like they were making fun of me there.
Yeah, I don't think Flanders gets on this journey because he doesn't like the way he's living. He's just sort of coming to the realization that he's never really tried anything outside of what he already knows and likes. And it's not that he doesn't like his bread and water for dipping. He just wants to be seen as spontaneous or interesting because all of a sudden, like, when he had to admit he was 60, he was obviously embarrassed by it. And then he saw
Yes.
everyone's reaction.
Well, he's proud at first.
No, he isn't.
he's
He's
fine.
actually
No.
embarrassed. Like,
No.
I'm actually 60. And then they go, wow. And he hits this little smile
Yeah,
and he's like,
that's what I
I'm
mean.
clean living and everything like that.
That's what I
And
meant.
then that was instantly taken away from him.
Yeah, because
Like-
he was hesitant to reveal it. Like, he was like a little bit embarrassed in that moment. So it's
I guess
clearly
so.
something that he's sort of pushed back a little bit. But yeah.
And yeah, I think, he had that little taste of everyone going, wow, your life is amazing. You do amazing things. And then realizing that everyone's like, not worth it. I'd rather look like shit at 60 and like, keep drinking and partying.
Vitamin church. Ugh. That's a tough vitamin to swallow.
The steeple really gets stuff.
Like PU.
It's also driven home by a relatively wacky gag with Grandpa Simpson and Jasper. I love that one. I forget about it every time. But, when he's driving along having this conversation with Maude about how he thinks he's too boring, like the car pulls up next to him and they've got all these hot girls in there and they're all waving and smiling.
Blasting rock music.
Like, even I forgot it this time. I thought, oh, Grandpa's been hooking into the Buzz Cola again.
Yeah.
And then like, help, we're being carjacked.
But yeah, I mean, it's an episode where we're seeing Ned bend his character, but definitely not break it, because especially when the shoe drops, is that what I'm looking for?
When the shoe hits the fan.
Yeah. And he realizes the mistake that is made, like, he instantly turns into old silly Billy Ned Flanders again. But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Okay.
Yeah, I'd watch it again.
All right.
I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose we're going to watch it again too, and if we're going to watch it again, we might put it in a playlist. What playlist does this go in?
Joan Rivers' appearances? Was that actually her?
That wasn't her,
Oh, okay.
definitely
No way
not.
that was her.
Dragging her daughter.
I wouldn't put it past Joan Rivers.
Yeah, true.
Obviously, like trips to Vegas or
Yep.
to casinos in general.
Yeah, casino playlist.
Yeah.
Buddy road trip playlist.
Yeah, especially Ned and Homer buddy ups.
I would want to put together a list of all of the like Homer imagination jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Where like this one, the chop chop dig dig, but also the one where like, Marge is mowing the lawn and he's on the hammock, but also the one where it's like she likes to make bacon on the beach and he's there, and like all of those ones where he's imagining something and it's kind of, you think it's going to be dirty,
Yeah.
and it's just something lazy.
Actually, yeah, an offshoot of that, Homer in the hammock playlist.
Yeah.
Like that one where the caterpillar crawls into his mouth, he coughs, and then it's a butterfly. Good shit.
What about Lisa just accepting that everyone around her is stupid? And she's like, you're not really giving my dad power of attorney, are you? And he's like, well, I guess we can't do business then. And he signs it anyway. And she sort of looks like so disappointed.
So what does power of attorney grant you? Like, what
You
did
can make
Homer...
legal decisions on their behalf.
Homer could make for
Yeah,
Ned?
change his will or
Oh,
whatever.
God.
Yeah, like sell his house, whatever.
Yeah, you usually only get power of attorney if somebody is incapable of doing it themselves, like really, really old or really sick or something like
Or
that. But-
comatose.
yeah, exactly. Like very extreme situations.
Huh. All right. Claire, what would you like to change about this episode?
You know what? I'm actually pretty happy with it as it is. I agree when you say that the first part of it drags out a lot, but I also like a lot of the jokes that are in there. I don't think it's a perfect episode, but I actually don't have any problems with it that I'd go, no, I'm definitely taking that scene out. I definitely need to change this, you know? Yeah, you know what? I can't really think of anything. Somebody else give me some ideas.
Jordan, give her some ideas.
Well, I'm actually seeking ideas too, because I know what I want to get rid of, but I don't know what to put in its place. Well, not get rid of, just change. So the wives say that they don't care that they're already married, and it's hard to find a good guy, and they won't give up without a fight. Maybe I've just answered my own question. There is a fight, and then they just give up. But basically, it's like I wanted a better resolution for how they get out of being married. And I don't think that them just going, Las Vegas doesn't care for out-of-towners, take your money and go someplace else, which I think is such a good line.
That's so funny. That's so good.
But yeah, it seems a weak ending and resolution to that problem. I don't know. I want to change that, but I really don't know how.
How about you, Danny?
Danny Rosewell. I'm Danny Rosewell. I'm torn.
Nothing's right.
I sort of want to scrap the whole second half.
Vegas bit.
Yeah, the Vegas bit. No real reason why, but there's no real point to the Vegas stuff either. They go there, they wake up, they realize the error of their ways, they go home, pretend it never happened. Pretending it never happened is sort of the cutting that out of your arc anyway. That's your I woke up and it was all a dream ending. I prefer to see like a caper, like Homer takes him out to the pub, then suddenly they're at the casino, then suddenly they're gambling, then suddenly they're partying, then suddenly they're this, and then suddenly they're that, and then they're in trouble, and they're running away from the mafia, and then they're running away from the cops, and the cops are running away from the mafia, and then the Beatles are like, and build up, wild hijinks in the caper, and snatch and lock, stock, and two snorky barrels. Snorky!
Wait, where did the sentence start?
We'll fix it in post.
Okay.
And then Ned's feeling older and less juvenile, and he's getting wrinkly and smoking and bitter and jaded by all the cocaine gun hijinks that are going on, and Homer's getting drunk and burned out, and then they are sort of more like Foghorn and Leghorn in leaving Las Vegas, fleeing Las Vegas when they... And so,
They're narrating, loading, not leaving Las Vegas. Very different movies.
Anyway, and they collapse.
Well, there's a lot of drinking in both, but for different reasons.
And then, so they both feel like a million years old because they finally lived their lives, and they collapse into their beds at the end of their big wacky hijinks.
And then the alarm immediately goes off.
And Flanders is already up cooking a delicious breakfast, and Homer's crazy hungover, being like, "Oh God, kill me in the head with the boot of a blarg. How did you manage to do this, Flanders?" And Flanders like, "Well, you know what? Maybe there is something I do like about living. I like the way I'm living, And
to have the sample and then decide to have his normal life.
That's it. There's no resolution to his arc.
Yeah, because this is only a day of regret for Ned instead of a realization that he was happy the way he was.
Yeah. You have your big wacky adventure, and of course, because his life makes him feel so youthful, he keeps feeling worse and worse, and Homer, of course, is getting drunker and beaten up and blah, blah, blah. Whatever shenanigans. The shenanigans don't matter. You ride in the mafia, you ride in the clowns juggling, you ride in the car chases and whatever. Diamonds in your butt. Rick and Morty style.
Look, I think that not every story needs a moral, and I think trying to cram a moral realization into it can make it really, seventh heaven.
Whoa, not that bad.
But, well, it is. It's churchy, at the end of it, Flanders is like, you know what? I'm going back to living clean with God.
Yeah. And then Homer's like, well, that's fine for you. And he leaps out the window and into a fucking...
into a helicopter, and the helicopter takes off to adventure.
Look, I kind of like the part that Ned actually really did enjoy his night until he realized he'd gone too far and married a couple of
there are
people.
Consequences.
Yeah, there are still consequences to their actions, which I liked. It's that you can have these wild nights. However, when you go that hard, you're going to have consequences. And yes, it dropped off, but that's why it's a two-parter. His consequences are coming back to haunt him.
The writers revisited the Vegas Wives thing in Brawl in the Family because that is
time.
the 3 seasons. So yeah, this was a loose end. How about you, BT? What would you like to change?
I mean, I like a lot of Danny's elements. I think he needs someone on his leash as per usual. I would be kind of tempted to. It's one of the things. I have the opposite problem of Jordan, where I don't know what I want to remove, but I know what I want to add, and just a little bit more of that, crazy Bender night they had. Even in a montage, like do the classic neon signs drifting past them in the dark, where you just get little flashes of what they did, or
Like the
something
Slurpee
that.
thing.
Yeah, like the Slurpee thing. Just because that's always fun. You can cram some rapid fire jokes in there. I just feel like I think I would kind of enjoy it. Maybe not strictly speaking a moral, but guess more of a point to it. Because we kind of end on and reset and goodbye, which is fine. It's just, it feels insubstantial then. And Ned's learned to ignore Homer's advice. He's not come to terms with the idea of his clean living. So he's still got that issue, I would feel like. It's just he picked the wrong mentor. He didn't, pick the wrong idea.
Yeah.
But, there's still plenty there. I'm not too fussed on this one, even though I don't think it was an amazing episode. I don't have a lot of complaints. So,
Yeah.
what about you, Elliot? What would you change?
Yeah, it's most of my problems exist in that first act, and it's sort of, I appreciate how quickly they do get into the whole Ned element of the story, because just everything between the casino blowing up and that happening was so disposable to me. And I really wish they did spend more time in Vegas, and I agree with you. I want to see more of that. And weirdly, I honestly wanted to see Homer and Ned do The Hangover. And that's such a bad cop-out answer, because even The Hangover have overplayed that card. And guest stars of the episode, the Moody Blues, were playing themselves.
Good to know they can take the joke.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Now's not the time for
want
poetry.
fatty.
Yeah. I want fatty. Yeah, good work, Moody Blues. Danny, any other notes?
I didn't like that there was a key in the car. I didn't think there should have been a key in the car.
Oh, but that it was such a quick, so long suck, and then they're just getting pummeled.
Yeah, good misdirect.
Yeah. I guess that keeps the suspension of disbelief for another second. Much better than them jumping in, realizing there's no key, and then getting pummeled.
Yeah, that it worked was surprising, but then it was undercut so quickly, I think works.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, look, I am currently tapped out.
How about you, Claire? Any other notes?
One that I haven't mentioned yet is after the Lance Murdoch Daredevil scene, where Homer just gets up and walks away and takes his beer that's been slightly spilled off. And Flanders is talking through all these new emotions that he's feeling. Like, I wanted you to be okay, but part of me wants to see you get smushed. It's like, ooh, somebody had their first taste of bloodlust.
He was nervous.
He's so delighted.
Yeah.
I also really liked the little part with Mo, where they're all trying to work out why Flanders is so good looking for 60, and he just jumps to the conclusion, it's holy water, isn't it? It's holy water. And he starts splashing his face with it. Like perfect little Mo moment, very much in character for him.
Moment.
Mo moment.
And how about you, Jordan? Any other notes?
2 quotes that I liked. Homer's basically making fun of himself when he's like, oh, so old Flawless Flanders needs help from Sticky Pants Simpson. And then after that, he goes,
Welly.
I do use that quote. Wellity.
stop that.
I like how it evolves. First is well, then welly, and then wellity.
Welly. And then the other one was,
It's a good training in rhythms. Welly, wellity.
yeah. And then the other one being, so Mr. Clean wants to hang with Dirty Dingus McGee. And such a good
Dirty Dingus McGee.
bit of light, bit I didn't like with the really obvious, like, oh, you mean that part with all the red paint?
Yeah.
Paint.
Dragged out way too long.
Yeah. That bit where Homer is like going, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that reminded me of like Family Guy humor. I know
There were
that,
so many okays, but it was a fine balance, wasn't it?
or maybe that's what Family Guy was like, hey, this joke, we're going to do this joke quite a lot in our show.
I don't know, because I really think Dan Castellaneta was killing it with the line deliveries in this episode.
Yeah, as he's just
Yeah.
rapidly
it was
trying
good.
to reach for an answer. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really catches that sort of grasping at straws feeling, doesn't it?
Assessing the damage. How do I get out of this?
Well, that's the thing. When you compare to what Flanders was doing, which was trying to off himself at the time, like obviously Homer's trying to take the lead of this. He's like, okay, all right, I'm the one who has to sort this out. Okay, what happened? What do I do?
Yeah.
BT, any other notes?
Of course. Sign outside the front of the church is He Knows What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I do like the Love of Joy's like, for the last time, tithing is 10% off the top. That's gross income, people.
What's tithing?
Tithing is, the church says you're meant to give 10% of your income into charity and specifically to the church.
Oh, right.
It's weird that the Bible actually has a specific percentage when a lot of its other things are quite vague.
Well, it also has specific cubits of measurement.
Yep. I do like Homer gets up there and goes, well, now I'm no big city lawyer. And the whole audience says,
Like shocked.
Pulls the
You
suspenders
aren't?
out of
I
nowhere.
never knew. Yeah.
Turns into
Hyper chicken.
or just big southern lawyer putting a H before any word with a W in it.
Yeah. I do really love the joke of they pull two guys in the utility room. There's sounds of a fight. The two guys walk out just rubbing their knuckles and good bit.
Homer and Ned totally lost that fight.
And just the background murmur of how's that fat guy run so fast?
And it's time for my final note.
And now it's time for his final note.
Elliot's final note.
Sounds weird doing it in the singular, but I only have one, and I don't know whether this is the point of the joke or not. When Ned's like, "Oh, if I want thrills and comedy or whatever," he goes, "I'll take Bob Saget," and it's like he's like one of the dirtiest comedians. But
yeah, well, that's his stand-up, I guess. But everyone knows him as like fucking Full House and shit,
stand-up
right?
always filthy?
Oh yeah.
Or was it only
think
post
so.
Full House?
Well, even then, 98 is very much post Full House. Yeah. Whatever, it's time to rank this thing. And BT, why not? You.
I'm on like a high bronze, low silver. Because, I mean, I like some of the jokes, but I'm actually quite surprised how not as much fun as I thought this one was going to be I was having when I was watching it. And I'm going to go with my instincts, and that says bronze. But I choose to call up Jordan at 3 a.m. and just tell him he's a good guy.
Well,
and also change my ranking.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we're staying at the house tonight. You know, we can just...
I will call him at 3 a.m.
From the other room.
From the other room.
How about you, Jordan?
My initial gut reaction was bronze too. I don't dislike it. It's just it holds not as much value as it does anymore now that I've watched it this year and at this time, and I don't enjoy
this
it
part of the country, and we're localized entirely within your
within the living room.
Yep.
Exactly. And yeah, it's tarnished now. It's not as funny as I remember it being. So yeah, it's a bronze.
Claire.
Well, I'm going to make that bronze maybe a little shinier and go with silver, because I can see what you guys are saying. I'm not offended or upset by your ranking. It makes sense to me, but I still really enjoyed it and I would watch it again. And I think it also carries an interesting plot point, maybe not a cubic level importance plot point, but the fact that Ned is 60 sort of affects how you see his character for the rest of The Simpsons.
And they keep that as canon.
Exactly. And they keep kind of referencing it back that he is just super ripped, but like you always have in the back of the mind that he is actually a senior citizen. So I don't know. I think it's a worthwhile episode.
And I am going to give it a silver as well. I honestly was walking in here on a bronze, but I gotta say, reviewing it, I'm like, yeah, there were a good handful of jokes that I liked, and it's not like it was a bad experience. It was just a bit dull, but I'm sort of bumping it up because, yeah, there are a few killer jokes and memorable moments and stuff. Danny?
Look, this episode was a party. A participant. A participant. I'm going to be a participant.
Wow.
Is more of a nothing episode than I was expecting it to be. It really washes over me. There's very little standouts that I often have fun ranting about the bad episodes as much as I like the good episodes. And this one, you know, I don't feel that there was a completed arc. They went out for wacky hijinks adventures, and they basically skimmed over the wacky hijinks adventures. That's the whole episode. It's like a hangover without the party.
Okay.
So a participant for me.
That will equal a shiny bronze. This will be the second episode that will be a shiny bronze that has a participant in it. Also, if the Bart wants what it wants, which I remember this panel did as well, and I was the participant on that one. That's when Bart starts dating Renier Wolfcastle's daughter.
All right.
But also another shiny bronze, which had an odd ranking, was a silver failure.
I remember this one.
Silver failure?
Yeah. You should remember this one.
Was that me?
Yep. Where we had an episode with friend of the podcast, Michael Swaim, and we did the Stephen Hawking episode, and you hate it, and we were like, yeah, it's fine. And you were like, no, I hate it. We're like, come on, it's fine.
Well, you're not supposed to influence my votes.
We didn't.
Because that was a garbage episode. That fire was a garbage fire of an episode.
But it made for amazing content.
Oh, man, it was so scary having an opinion in front of Big Michael Swaim.
He was so...
Big Michael Swaim, just Big Mike to his friends.
All right, guys. Well, that about does it for this segment. Stick around when we'll be reviewing... I forgot what the episode's called, but
We're all in the family. That's what you said before.
That's what we're doing next, but not what's next on the episode.
Fuck.
Way to cut in with the wrong answer.
God.
Where we'll be reviewing some episode, I forgot what it's called, with Pods in the Key of Springfield. But this panel will be returning next week when we review the second part of the Vegas storyline. Vegas Wives storyline.
Vegas Wives storyline.
When
Wives.
we review
Brawl in the Family.
We'll be back.
Emily.
Take two.
And we are back, and we've changed the lineup again. Joining me now, all the way from Adelaide in South Australia, are the guys from Pods.
In the key of
Springfield.
Ah, boy, we're a little rusty on the old the thing that we do on the podcast that we do.
We're a little rusty on talking.
Yeah,
Just so you at home know who's who, that's James.
yeah, that's me. I was drinking a can of drink when you said my name,
Oh.
trying to avoid the microphone for people who have misophonia.
And that's Nick.
Captain Nick, thank you very much.
Proper title, of course.
Thank you.
How
Thank you, PlayStation.
Very good.
It does like to get its guest appearances in early.
And yeah, joining us to do the 2-part Herb Powell episode. So we just watched Season 2, Episode 15, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, bro, where are you at, though?
Love that song. First released in February of 1991, directed by Wes Archer, written by Jeff Martin. In this episode, yeah, this is the one where Homer discovers he's got a half-brother, Herb Powell, who owns a car thingy. Guys, what'd you think?
Isn't it kind of weird and wild that in Season 2, they're already doing the you have a mysterious half-brother that you've never met before plot?
Yeah.
Like, they made it, 20 episodes in before they're like, mysterious half-brother, that's a thing that we can do. That's, we're at that point. The Fast and Furious movies made it 9 movies in before they went down that well.
Keep in mind, though, that this is also the series that in the second episode threatened to have the main character die by suicide. So it was moving pretty quickly through all the tried and tested tropes of last-minute ratings ditch efforts.
And then in Season 15, Homer would discover he has a half-sister as well, so...
And then you get Cousin Oliver.
Wait, is a half-sister a thing?
No.
Oh, what's that episode?
The Regina Monologues.
Ah.
Well, it's never explicitly stated, but it's heavily implied that, yeah.
What about that woman we see driving along in that one episode where Bart gets the bigger brother? Yeah.
Numbers too big to ignore. What Jekyll and I are saying is, when the Simpsons Index turns into a live stage show of The Simpsons, we would both like to be that part.
And now both playing the role of one person.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be the understudy.
Yeah. And by that he means he'll be the lower half of the coat, because we're going to be one of those, I'll be standing on Jekyll's shoulders in a really long coat.
Yeah, it'll be like the character will be a Goliath in our version.
Yeah, because she's in numbers, height numbers, the classic way of measuring people in numbers.
Yes.
Too big to ignore. This gigantic woman will kill us all.
She's in a car, though. It'll be kind of lost, the tallness.
Well, everybody needs to drive a car, even the very tall.
Exactly. She gets out of the car and says, "This is the largest automobile I could afford."
She's turning into a ghost.
Oh no, except that with the last bit of my laugh then sounded more like
More like
Mickey,
Ricky.
Mickey from the Disney Corporation.
I was thinking more like Ricky Gervais you were going into there. Oh, it's the largest car I can afford. Does that offend you?
Oh no, I don't want to sound like him. Yeah, all right, we've all heard your little speeches.
So I guess it was more like a Mickey Gervais.
Oh.
Oh.
Ah.
Oh boy, we've all heard your little speeches.
Oh boy, there is no God. Ha 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 ha.
This award ceremony is not a place for your grandstanding, yeah?
Are you glad you got us on last, Elliot?
Yeah, absolutely. Breathing fresh new life into this very long podcast, but...
So that's where we can end the bonus scenes, and now we can go back to doing the normal part of the pod.
Well, we'll start with you then, Nick. For better or worse, what's a moment that stands out to you from this episode?
So, as you know, Elliot, and as the listeners probably don't know unless they listen to Pods in the Key of Springfield,
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I'm not really a movie guy. Movies don't grab me the way they grab most other people. And so when Abe and Jasper at the start were very annoyed about spending $2.50 on a movie, I was there going, yeah, same. I'd still probably be annoyed at most movies for $2.50, even though that's very cheap by modern standards.
Have you ever gone and complained about a movie?
No, because I think movies are a little bit like fresh fruit. You take a gamble on it. Like, I'd never go back and say, this peach isn't up to scratch. I mean, I've only ever liked, 2 movies. I haven't gone back and asked for refunds on the others.
Yeah, art in general, we have to allow for art to not be perfect. We can't get angry if a thing is bad and demand our money back. I think.
We just start a podcast about it.
A movie ticket is not that expensive. It's fine.
Exactly. Start a podcast about it. And weirdly, this kind of issue came up. Strap yourselves in, boys, because I'm about to take this to 100. This issue came up in a politician in Western Australia introduced a bill into the Western Australian Parliament to legalise sex work, which is good, because it should be at least decriminalised and probably legalised. The reason I say probably is the bill that he brought in, so the draft law that he brought in, had all these sections about what customers could do if they were dissatisfied and whether they could seek refunds and stuff like that. And I was just like, maybe you've missed the point here. You can't get to the end of a sex act and turn around and say, nah, can I have my money back? And in the same way that I wouldn't get to the end of a movie in which, Hollywood's committing a sex act upon me and say, no, I don't really want this. Isn't that analogous? Yeah.
Yeah, in this podcast about The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. I mean, look, best case scenario, we get a nice little episode of The Simpsons Index. A better case scenario is that you get some free press because I get us cancelled on, I don't know, what's a Twitter. I get us cancelled on Twitter for the things that I want.
Trying to remember what a social network is.
Trying to remember what a website is.
Pinterest.
Very good.
How about you, James? What stands out to you from this episode?
I mean, look, the reason you wanted us for this one is because of the fact that I tend to stan Danny DeVito. I love Danny DeVito. The DeVites, he's my guy. I love him. And the moment Danny DeVito walks into this episode, it is like the steady hand of your father taking your hand to cross you across the road. It's beautiful. I love him in this episode. It is such a performance. It is so wonderful right away. It is so warm. Look, I got a lot of things to say about this episode that we'll get into over time, presumably, unless I forget to say any of the things I wanted to.
Oh, well, I mean, this is the section where we do them. What is part of Danny DeVito's performance that really stood out to you?
Look, I think there's wall to wall. He's very warm and energetic and exciting and fun in this movie, but I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about the episode that we did about this, the episode of our podcast that we did about this episode of The Simpsons. And I was thinking about what has changed in the world since we did that, and 2 things came to mind that were at the forefront of my mind, especially in the second half of this episode. First of all, the movie Parasite came out and won Best Picture at the Oscars, and this episode of The Simpsons is, in some ways, kind of like a version of Parasite, but for children in the 90s, I think.
Interesting.
Not quite as cutting, fewer Koreans as well in it, but by and large, there's some connection there.
Did they have a Korean animation studio at this point? The Simpsons?
Oh, yeah, true.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's a connection.
The other thing that I really thought of was Elon Musk and his disastrous demoing of that Cybertruck thing that happened a little while ago, where he unveiled that awful truck and then said the windows were indestructible and they immediately smashed when they did a demo.
I got this world-class baseball player to show that they will not break, and they promptly did, 3 times. It was wonderful.
And I was just thinking, what would have happened if at that point Elon Musk had fallen to his knees and loudly declared, "I'm ruined"?
That would have been such a good play. I would have loved that.
Oh, that'd be so good. Because that's sort of the one problem that I have with this episode is this final bit, because I don't think it's Homer's fault, right?
Yeah, that's part of the fun of it. I mean, it is a little silly that Herb never once saw this car design, and they apparently mass manufactured it from the prototype before anyone had seen it, which is not really how car manufacturing works, is my understanding. Prototype models will typically be unveiled at shows like this and then based on feedback and response, maybe then they'll go into active production. I don't think.
I guess the only... Because I thought of that previously, and I guess the only thing... The story does have one internal bit of consistency that helps back that point up, where he says to the other designers, some of whom are wearing hard hats, by the way, which seems wild as far as I'm concerned, but he says to the other designers, put everything else on hold. And we don't know how long the design process took, but if it's been months, then every other project has ground to a halt and they have no new cars.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think maybe there's a bit of internal logic there. Not heaps, but a bit.
But this episode is basically about the lie of the relationship between the upper class and the middle class. It is sort of about this car company that promises that it is making cars for the everyday person, and then, you know, trying to live up to this promise in a very silly way, and everything's sort of falling apart, and, you know, the market completely rejecting what they're trying to do. It is about Homer sort of trying to move from the middle class to the upper class and finding himself completely unsuited for it. And it's interesting. It's sort of it's about the empty promises of corporate America in some ways.
Wow.
And I like it. It's a good episode.
I think that just about sums up the first question there, Elliot.
And by the end of the episode, you know, like Herb and his company are gone, and it's sort of like the sad, beaten down middle class that is sort of struggling all the time is the only thing that has survived. Homer and Marge and the family get to go back and, you know, keep living their lives while Herb is just immediately in the gutter. It's a sort of I remember reading this tweet not that long ago about how, like, the distinction between, like, being very rich and sort of being very poor when you are middle class is, like, all you need is, like, one bad month to suddenly be in the gutter, whereas, you know, you're never going to have 1 month that is so good you're suddenly really rich. And I don't know, I was thinking about that a lot during this episode. This is an interesting one. I like it. I like The Simpsons, the TV show we've been watching for the podcast.
Okay, interesting ideas from a crazy man.
Will the senator from Vermont please sit down?
Play count. How many times have you guys seen this episode, do you think?
Or I've probably seen it at least 7. No, probably it's easily in the 30s, 40s.
Yeah, this is my first time seeing this TV show. What is it exactly?
Much like Lisa and Bart annoyingly explaining Itchy and Scratchy. Yeah, so The Simpsons, it's about this family, and there's a Homer, and he's very dumb. Yeah.
So it's like an animated sitcom about, like, the daily lives of this dysfunctional family? Okay, well, I've seen this one probably, like, 43 times.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah, I've seen it a bunch. I mean, Simpsons syndication, this one was drilled into my brain. But I was wondering, you know, have you guys actually watched this since you did it for your podcast, or...?
No, I mean, I found, and I know that you take a different approach to this, E-Train, but I found that doing episodes of Pods in the Key of Springfield is it's the TV equivalent of salting the earth. Like, I watch these episodes, I review them for an hour, and then I never go back and look at them ever again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it is. In some ways, it does feel like the final word in the episode.
It's almost like a purging.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like my notes this time are a bit different from what they would have been like last time we watched this episode. The moment Marge started speaking, and she's a lot younger, I had a note on my page that said, Julie Kavner is 70 now.
Yeah.
Because she's turning 70 this year. She's the oldest member of the primary cast, I think, apart from Harry Shearer, and I started thinking about mortality and went down that whole path in my mind. But everything's fine, I'm sure. She's probably okay.
What a wonderful sunny guest you've been, James. Class warfare and mortality. Can't wait to hear what you got when I ask, was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
Well, the thing about the Darfur region is...
Fucking hell.
Wacky episode. Some parts of it are pretty wacky, I think. The reveal of the car at the end is maybe the wackiest part. Just the insanity of the car design.
Fuck, that thing was fun to drive in the Simpsons hit and run game.
Oh, yeah, the Simpsons hit and run game.
Yeah, when you hit and run someone and take their Simpsons DVDs.
Very good. Is that the one? There was a sound effect that I would repeat for ages, which is if you like went over a big bump and Homer would go, "Ow, my ass!" And I really enjoyed it. Except in my impression, it was less of the Homer voice and more of like Larry David almost. Don't quite know where I was going with that. Something that I found... Oh, this isn't really for the wacky question, but can I just mention a note before I forget it?
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know why. I said, sure, it's not up to me. I'm not hosting this podcast.
I guess something I should probably clarify for E-Train now is that because Jokel and I are sitting in our normal pod setup, it kind of just does feel like we're doing an episode of this, even though I've got you in my ears. But also, we're both wearing earbud headphones with you in one ear, so it feels a little bit like we're doing a live TV cross. And at one point, one of us will put our hands up to our ear and be like,
Just a moment now.
I'm getting some news in. Oh, I'm being asked what's wacky about this episode. There's the bit in when we learn about the stepbrother that Abe says that he was at the local fun fair checking out the skirts. Now, something that we've gone into a lot in Pods in the Key of Springfield.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes,
Thank you. Is that you could read a queer coding of Bart into lots of stuff in The Simpsons. There's lots of nice little Easter eggs along the way of some queer coding. And what I wonder is this perhaps the first time that Abe gets queer coded? Because he's not checking out the women in the skirts. He's down there looking, oh, A-line. That's good. Oh, Empire line. Empire line in a nice green tartan. That's divine, sweetie.
He does get thoroughly queer-coded later on.
Oh, of course. He's got the cross-dressing in World War II.
Yeah.
And later on in season 23, I don't know how late you want to consider later seasons canon, but yeah, it turns out he was a professional wrestler doing like a Gorgeous George sort of character.
Yeah, right.
And he revives
Well,
it.
there we go. I think this might be checking out the skirts, if you take my interpretation, might be the first queer coding of Abe.
It is strange, the bit with the circus worker who he ends up having sex with when he says she did things your mother never would, like have sex for money. Where was the implication of payment in their initial interaction?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, Mona, what's with your prejudice? You get sex and you get money. Great. I was gesturing very, very big for that point. Like, I actually stood up out of the chair gesturing and got nothing from James. And I'm like, well, where do I go now?
He sat down and gave me a look of contrition.
Anyway, sorry.
Well, this does sort of set up a thing of like Mona lying to protect Homer and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah. It's interesting that, this sort of character model and, I don't know, something kind of about her character was carried on in the season 7 episode.
Yeah, The Simpsons is good.
Yeah, was.
Something I found wacky is that in the boardroom where they're talking about the car name and Persephone and all that stuff, there are, I think, 8 people around the table and only 4 glasses on the table, and the glasses seem to be full of a murky piss-coloured liquid. And I don't know if it's meant to be a stand-in for straight scotch, like, you know, a bunch of like Mad Men ad exec style straight scotch, or if it's just meant to be some murky piss glasses.
Yeah, I'm sure it was meant to be piss.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because we're out of like the cocaine and whiskey of the 80s and, into the murky piss drinking the 90s.
We get one guy in that scene with a really weird squiggly mouth.
Yeah.
He looked like he just drunk piss.
Oh, yeah, the reaction guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, reaction guy's definitely a piss drinker.
That's what he's into. That's what he does.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, it's fine.
In this scene as well, I thought this was another weird inconsistency with this episode where this is where Herb is like admitting that he's a lonely person and he doesn't have any roots, when just a scene ago he found out that he does.
Yeah, that is odd timing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe this is just his bit. Maybe this is his shtick. Maybe he always does this every meeting.
Good motivator.
And because they could so easily explain that by saying, like, I have no roots yet, or I have no roots, but I'm going to find them.
Yeah.
But he just says, no, I'm an island. Gets up, walks out.
Maybe he doesn't realize how immediately he's going to take to being an uncle. Maybe he's a little wary at this point still. I don't know. He's such a good uncle. He's got real uncle energy.
Oh, he's got big uncle energy, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah, mad uncle energy.
But he's got like that ideal like uncle that everyone, the uncle that you dream of.
He's the uncle type.
He's like if Danny DeVito was your uncle.
Oh, imagine.
That'd be so sick. Love to go for a pony ride on his boat.
I thought you were going to say back then. I was like, Elliot, please.
Jump on it.
Yeah, my 6'1" on his poor, like, what is he, 4'11" or something?
I think he's 147 centimeters.
Oh, fuck, that's right. I'm using the wrong system again.
So I looked it up yesterday. I think that's what it was. I know it was a very specific number that I gave.
4'9" is what that is. So you weren't too far off, Elliot.
Oh, there we go. But yeah, so like the wackiness with this episode, like it was relatively subdued, but you do have these moments with Herb spoiling the children. Yeah, on the boat ride and the hot air balloon. I feel like he's unfairly favouring Bart at the start, but does come around and start including Lisa in some of the activities.
Bart is a pretty fun little boy, though. I like the bit where Grandpa rings up and says to Homer, please don't do anything stupid. That is the most Chekhov's gun moment. Imagine the second he says, you're like, well, he's going to fuck everything up. He's going to do something stupid.
He's going to do something stupid.
KBBL is going to give him something stupid.
To do.
Yes.
But how about the heart of this episode? Was this a particularly emotional episode?
Oh, it's nice when Herb and Homer meet for the first time.
It is.
Yeah,
And they realise their similarities.
And they hug. They have a big ol' hug. Who doesn't like hugging?
Well, you didn't like hugging for a very long time, James.
Nah, it's fine.
I used to hug you a lot, and you always would get, like, tense and weird and call the police.
You're not coming up well in this anecdote, Nick.
Oh no.
And now you hug during the entire podcast recordings. It's kind of sweet.
It's actually really awkward.
We prefer to call it spooning.
Podcasting just like Joan and Yoko. How cute.
Very good. Hey, Elliot, does it count as heart when... Because normally in the context of your questionnaire, heart is the touching moments, the nice moments, the lovely moments. Does it also count when it's heart-wrenching? Like when, you know, they fall out at the end and Herb says he has no brother?
Oh, yeah. That, like... They're different kind of bumps. They're more, I don't know, gut-dropping bumps. I don't know.
Yeah, and what about when we have to, like, face the harsh realities of corporate America and the class divide that all of us live with each day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah, what about that?
There was another bit of heart when I was reminded when the guy writes down the note, very large beverage holder. That was going to be the first Pods in the Kia Springfield piece of merchandise. And then I remembered that I had never made that shirt and then got sad about it.
Wait, you wanted a shirt that had the note?
No, I was going to do a shirt that just said very large beverage holder. And it was going to be both a reference to The Simpsons and a commentary on me. Because I am a very large person and I hold beverages. So.
Oh, I thought that was just a label for your tummy.
Oh, I don't do the tummy trick, but maybe I should. Maybe I should work up to it.
Don't do the tummy trick?
I don't do the tummy trick, James.
All right, no further questions, Your Honor.
Very good.
But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
I would say that it did. It feels very season 2, mostly in ways that are good, I think. The fact that it doesn't make a lot of sense in places also feels in keeping with this era, I would say, of the show.
Yeah.
I think that it did.
Yes, I also think it felt like an episode of The Simpsons. I mean, come on, it's early classic Simpsons stuff.
The other interesting thing is when you start the episode up, actually, it shows this splash screen that says The Simpsons, and then it will, like, go through, like, all the little characters running through the town, and then there's, like, a gag where they all get on the couch, but it's, like, funny. So it feels like The Simpsons to me. Also, at the end, they show the credits, and they're all, like, actors and producers and people who work on The Simpsons.
Including some of those Korean animators.
Probably not, actually.
No.
Yeah, you're right, probably not.
I don't think they actually named them.
I just really wanted to make a callback. Elliot, do you think this feels like an episode of The Simpsons?
Well, glad you asked. No, like, this is sort of the classic thing we run into, you know, when we ask this question is that the character integrity, it's not fully set yet. They're still laying the foundation. The concrete's still drying, but it's mostly there. I really like how Bart and Lisa are so much more kid-like in this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of kid energy coming off them.
I really like that one bit where they are pantomiming things to each other, and then they just have a little moment where they laugh, like they were arguing, but then because they're doing a funny little bit together, they laugh. That's very nice. That's real heart. Should have mentioned the heart moment. Didn't, mentioning it now.
And it's a little bit like that stupid old phrase, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Bart and Lisa were facing off against each other, but then they both team up against Homer, and then they become the ones that are, you know, having the better time. It's a very nice little moment. You can also file that under heart.
Yes.
Yes.
And really, you know, children against their parents is the original class warfare.
Fucking hell.
Oh, shit. But yeah, that they fluctuate between fighting with each other and, being pals and stuff. It's sort of stuff we don't see, They're usually, got the brains of teenagers in more recent seasons. So yeah, it's nice seeing them in this mode.
The only thing I'll call you up on there, Elliot, is you said that sometimes they're pals. That's the other side of the family. These are the Simpsons, not the pals.
Swish. Yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
I know we just said we've retired it forever, but sure, I'd watch it again. I like it.
I think practically retiring it forever, which is what I do after I review them, is very different to saying I will never watch this again. I realise that the outcome of them is the same, but saying I would never watch it again feels like a commentary on the episode, whereas retiring the episode is definitely a commentary on me. So yes, I would watch this again.
That's the longest answer I've ever gotten for that question. But yeah, I'd watch this again, and episodes we want to watch again, we think about what playlist we'd put this in. What are some other Simpsons that remind you of this one?
I'd put it in the playlist that has Rancho Relaxo in it, only because I think Herb Powell's house looks a lot like what I remember Rancho Relaxo looking like.
Being designed by Frank Lloyd Wright?
Yeah, possibly. Are they both designed by him?
Just at least you can philosophize, but it's to spinning lies.
It's just when you first pull out and do the big pullback and reveal on Herb's house, I went, fuck, is that Rancho Relaxo? And so I'd put it in a playlist with Rancho Relaxo so I could check.
All right, the mansion playlist.
Yeah, this definitely goes in a playlist with other episodes, scenes from the class struggle in Springfield, where Marge keeps having to remake her dress.
Oh, yeah.
Any sort of rich versus poor episode.
The class warfare playlist. Fuck yeah.
That comes with the TEDx talk by James O'Connor about class warfare studies in Simpsons.
Sure, why not? If they want to commission it, I'll fucking do it.
I know you will. And a Herb Powell playlist, which now there are 3 episodes. Nick, did you get that video I sent you?
I did, but I didn't watch it. Hang on. Is this a sneak peek that I'm getting?
Yeah, so...
A sneaky peek, did you say?
The dream dreams, then lives inside the dream.
Do you want me to play this now for Jaikel's amusement? Or is
this is Herb Powell's reappearance in HD era.
It'd be great if there were jokes in this scene.
Rich?
Here we go.
Hi, you reached Herb Powell. I'm poor again.
So
See, the
yeah.
thing is, in the end, capitalism gets us all.
I preferred the phone message that was, believe it or not, Herb isn't at home.
So, we'll start with you, James. What would you like to change about this episode?
What would I like to change? Ooh. Do I dare suggest that I'm better at The Simpsons than the people who made The Simpsons? Let's see.
That's the conceit of the Simpsons Index.
Look, the ending is silly. It is a bit silly that he hasn't seen the car until they're on stage, but I'm not sure what the way around it is. I guess I haven't thought in that much depth about what you would actually do to avoid that. I guess what Nick was saying before about how they basically put all other projects on hold, maybe there should have been a bit more to the collapse of the company rather than just because this car was bad. Or, there should have been some reason given for why Herb hadn't seen the model, maybe very purposely. If there was a scene of him saying, I trust you so implicitly that, I'm going to very purposely avoid looking at it. I mean, they kind of do that, I guess, with that phone call he gets from the engineers and everything, but...
Fuck, that is such a funny joke. Say everything opposite
fun.
back. That is so good.
Oh, that's very good.
His personal hygiene is above reproach.
As I was saying earlier in this discussion, I'm not owed a perfect piece of work. A thing doesn't need to be exceptional for me to still love it, so I'm just going to say I'm not going to change anything in this one.
How about you, Nick?
I just think it's amazing that James and I had the same conversation about not being owed a perfect piece of work as we bought and ate burritos on the way home to do this recording. Because I was literally telling an anecdote about last time I was at this particular burrito shop. There was this guy behind me that did something that was very jerkish. He asked for a certain sauce. They did one line, right to left, and the guy just went, yeah. And as they went left to right with a second line, a return line, he threw his hands up and went, "Oh, man, oh, you ruined it." And I was just like, who gets that worked up about the sauce quantity? Anyway, what was the question?
How many lines of sauce do you usually like to have on your burrito?
My question's about the budget, sir.
I would like 2 lines of sauce at least on my burrito. Would I change anything about the episode? I found it weird that from the time Homer goes looking for his brother, Homer's wearing a tie, which I don't think he normally does when he's in around the house mode.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the only reason he's wearing a tie is so that it exaggerates how beaten down he looks when the search isn't working.
Yeah, because they show his untucked shirt as well.
Yeah, untucked shirt, tie. That distracted me, and I don't want him wearing a tie.
Yeah, it's interesting that someone without a tie could probably look a bit more fancier than someone with a slightly more pulled out tie.
Like Yogi Bear.
It's weird. A tie poorly done is so much more dishevelled than no tie at all. It's actually the same.
I'm not wearing a tie at all.
Wow. The same rule can also be said for apostrophes. It's better to leave out an apostrophe and possibly be wrong than to put one in and definitely be wrong.
I would agree with that.
But in this metaphor, the apostrophe is a poorly tied necktie.
Apostrophes and
Was that
neckties.
analogous? Apostrophes and neckties is probably going to be the name of my acoustic album.
Oh, fuck. And what would I change?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Elliot,
nobody asked Elliot.
Elliot, what would you change about the episode?
Oh, thank you for
The episode
asking.
of The Simpsons.
I think I'd want to echo James's point is, I don't think I'm smart enough, good enough to rewrite this in any meaningful way.
I don't know that I said that you're not smart or good enough.
James, what would you change about this episode? Well, Elliot's a real dead shit, and
No, like there's a common thing with Marge going, I'm worried we're spoiling the children, and I don't know, it just feels kind of like a dropped plot point, like that Bart and Lisa are meant to start being spoiled little shits at some point. I don't know.
especially because, like, they're literally going swimming, and Marge is like, oh, fuck, swimming. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
But then as Nick turned to me at one point and said, why are they dressed as Victorian dandies now?
Oh, yeah. When they started playing croquet, they were both dressed as, like, Victorian-era dandy little kids. Which I think, actually, that backs up exactly what you're saying. It seems like a plot point that was building to something and then was dropped.
Yeah. And so, like, as it exists now in this fashion, it just makes Marge look naggy and then for no reason in the end, which sucks because, you guys have said it on your podcast before. The way they handle Marge's character a lot in these early seasons is not that great.
Not that great.
Yeah, they sort of like signpost how reductive the character is in this one when she sort of gives her life story and there's nothing to it.
Yeah, that felt mean to Marge too. All right, well, yeah, that's it. Do you guys have any other notes?
There were some things I wanted to talk about very, very quickly. I'm going to run through them. I'm going to speed round the notes I didn't quite get to.
Speed round. Gotta go fast.
Speed round.
Brought to you by Sonic the Hedgehog, now in theaters.
Yeah. Let's see. That was my Sonic saying, yeah. Let's see. So McBain at the start. McBain is like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of this world. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, together again, like twins. That was my first note.
And Homer and Herb look like twins. Wow.
Yowza.
Oh, the parallels never end.
There's like a nice little triple cut in that McBain thing where they show the explosion from 3 different angles, and it made me think of that scene in Police Story where Jackie Chan goes down that light fixture in the middle of the mall and they show it 3 times. And I showed that to a film class once, and I said, why do you think they did this? Why'd they show it 3 times? And one of the students was like, is it because it's really cool? I'm like, yes, it is. That's what they did. Fucking rules.
That rules.
Rip up the prescribed text and then class dismissed.
Yeah, I did a guitar solo.
Point to that one student. You're the teacher now.
Did a kickflip. It's weird that McBain is like the James Bond of the Simpsons world as well, though, because we get that very obvious Bond theme at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So that's something. Nice use of the word bastard in this episode. which is good.
I loved in this moment as well that I think this episode, taught me the meaning of the word bastard, but then Lisa says Dickensian before, and I never thought to look that up, but yeah.
That's funny.
And the only other thing I'm going to bother saying right here is it is very weird to tear down an orphanage and then move it right across the street. I mean, the cost of rebuilding an orphanage. I mean, orphanages traditionally don't have that much money. Very strange thing to do.
How about you, Nick? Any other notes?
No, I've just crossed out my last note, which was glasses of piss, so I'm fine.
Glasses of piss.
That's the name of your second album.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah, coming to an RSL near you. This is another Simpsons playlist, Hibbert's Long Lost Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
true.
So, yeah.
Is that a recurring theme?
Yeah, we get the other one in the... Isn't it like Bleeding Gums is the other one?
Yeah, yeah.
Just like every black character is related to Hibbert, essentially.
Yeah. When Homer's making his way to see Herb, they're having the little road trip. He gets spotted and mistaken for Herb on 2 occasions. And then I love in this moment as well, they just have a moment of him going over a pothole and spilling a Coke. It was completely unnecessary, but I got a big laugh out of it. Yeah.
He dropped his notes.
What a jerk. And my only other note is Pork Chop Guy.
He is a pork chop guy.
Oh, yeah, that's something I've always found interesting in the rewatch of The Simpsons, is that of all the foods for Homer to become obsessed with, for me personally, in my taste, pork chop just seems wild out of nowhere.
It is such a 90s thing.
Yeah, I
think.
just don't think pork chops are anywhere near as good as Homer gives them credit for.
Yeah.
I don't know, you get a nice big slob of applesauce onto him.
Yeah.
I feel like these days he'd be like a nacho guy, maybe. I don't know. Delicious pork chops.
Elliot, in the HD stuff, has Homer gone wild for pulled pork?
I don't know about that specifically, but there was an episode where he got like a meat smoker and he became like one of those meat smoker guys you see on Meat Smokers reality TV show.
Because to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if Homer turned out to be like a full epic bacon, fedora guy.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him get fully into pulled pork.
Yeah, and featuring a special guest appearance by, what's the epic mealtime guy, Arlie Morenstein or whatever?
I don't know, like Kid Rock or something.
That's a deep bench reference.
Oh, actually, I did have one note. Herb at one point looks down the barrel at the camera and he goes, I could have been spending this whole time watching cartoons. This old fool wasted his life. Can't help but feel seen in that moment. It's time to rank this thing.
Rank.
James, go first.
Okay, well... Look, I was tempted to go very high just because, like, DeVito fucks like a prize racehorse, and I just really like the episode.
Fucking hell.
And I think the class stuff's really interesting, but I'm going to go gold, I think. I'm going to go second tier. I really like it a lot. It's not quite like in the absolute classic canon of, episodes I think about once a week, but it is very good. DeVito's wonderful in it. And there's a lot I really like about it, so I'm going gold.
Yeah, I'm going gold as well. I almost want to say cubic because, essential episodes, and I feel like this one is, a part of, a rare bit of Simpsons continuity that's, a whole lot of fun, magnificent performance by DeVito, but, I don't know, it just shows its age a little bit, and, still excellent. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Nick, finish it off.
Can you remind me of the difference between gold and silver again, please?
We say silver is good and gold is excellent.
Yeah, I think it's got enough that I'll stick with gold. I was tossing up for a while there, but gold.
I was really hoping Elliot would explain like the difference on the periodic table
between gold and silver. Yeah. Extremely good. Well, gold has an atomic mass of 54.
All right. Well, that'll be a unanimous gold, and it will be the 6th episode.
A little bit like the glasses they were drinking in the boardroom there, Elliot.
No, they were urine-esque gold. I don't know.
I enjoyed that.
It'll be the 6th episode from season 2 to get a gold ranking. It'll be joining Dancing Homer, which I think was a little high. We were very drunk when we reviewed that
Dancing
one.
Homer is not very good.
No, it's not. That's one that I've been debating up for a review because, we were toasted on that review.
Yeah, you guys were drinking the nostalgia on that night.
Yeah.
And all that piss.
so much piss.
Also recently reviewed Bart versus Thanksgiving, but that was a goal by split decision. Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, Principal Charming with
T.
Hey. And also reviewed with you guys last year, The War of the Simpsons. Also was a unanimous gold from season 2.
General Sherman.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you.
Queen of the Harpies.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, that about does it for the Simpsons Index for this week. Guys, would you like to plug your show?
Yeah, it's called Pods.
In the key
of
Springfield.
And eventually we'll, we have 2 episodes we recorded months and months ago that I just haven't edited and put out yet because I want to build up a bit of a backlog. And we've been busy. We've been real busy.
There will be more episodes, but we're both just very... Can everyone just back the fuck off? No, it's fine. There'll be more episodes.
There's really like 3 people and they're very polite about it.
Yeah, they're extremely polite.
I got a message the other day saying, look, if you never put out another episode, it is okay. I would love it if you did. But like, people are very nice.
So that's our plug.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we'll be hearing, because you don't see a podcast, we'll be hearing more from you next week when we review the unofficial sequel to this episode, Brother, Can You Spare 2 Dimes? But yeah.
Is that how this is working? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so...
I thought this is going to be one episode with like 6 things. It doesn't matter.
So we've got to come back in a week. Huh. Yeah, I guess we can make that work.
But same night for us, different weeks for the audience.
Elliot, don't ruin the magic of podcasts.
Oh,
well,
right.
I thought this show was live.
No, it's a terrible strain on the wanker's wrists.
Anyway, all right. Well, until next week, thank you, James.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you, Nick.
See you guys.
And I've been your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill. That's all the mustard.
Hey, Elliot,
in the house.
is there any... Oh, I didn't get in quick enough. I wanted to say, hey, Elliot, is there any mustard in the house?
No, that's all the mustard in the house.
Oh, I got him!
Simpsons.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
We just watched season 10 episode... Hey, Bella.
Episode
Bella.
redacted by Bella.
Yep.
Hey, Belle. Sit on our laps and shut up.
The microphones freak her out or something?
No. She's heard the breaking and entering intruders, breaking and entering,
Screaming
and
at
intruding.
Oh.
Clouds.
Oh, good girl.
Old dog yells at clouds.
I've got some trivia about you.
Oh.
You know what you did last summer, or he
Okay.
knows. I know what you did last summer.
Yep.
Who knows
Which
what who
is-
did?
Did you?
God.
Who knows what I did?
What did I
last
do,
summer?
Claire? Huh?
Apparently ran over someone or something. It was October 1997 that was released.
The world was never the same again.
Also, the first search result that comes up is a Shawn Mendes song called I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I'm assuming it's not about violent murder.
There's a lot of
Might
lyrics
be.
to that.
Who knows?
Yeah,
song.
right?
That's Shawn Mendes. I don't know who you are, but shut up.
There's a lot of the same lyric.
Shut
To
up,
be
Shawn
fair.
Mendes.
How many times did you say summer in that song?
Not as many times as you'd think. There's a lot of I know.
Huh.
But I don't know. Like, I just suddenly got this flash that I'm in a different generation where I Know What You Did Last Summer
Has a
didn't
different-
automatically come up with the movie. It came up
Yeah.
with a weird, like, obviously sad love song.
True.
Top songs with repeated I know. Sophie Ellis Baxter, Murder on the Dance Floor.
Yeah.
I love that
Oh,
song.
no
Or
way.
if you repeat
Ain't
the
No Sunshine.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, you got me. And yeah, tomorrow I'm driving 5 hours north to go see Elton John, so that's going to be fun.
Oh, are you just going to hang out with him or are you going to see him perform music?
Yeah, well, both, hopefully.
Where's 5 hours?
I think it's going to be a long time until you get there.
Where's 5 hours north of Sydney? Where are you seeing him?
Coffs Harbour, home of the Big Banana.
Yeah, right. I've heard they do good lozenges there. Oh, I should have said drops. That would have been funnier. Like coughs lozenge, coughs drops.
Oh,
Cough
yeah,
drops.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, well, I don't know what it's like over there, Elliot, but it's a fucking cold room over here. So
I just got out of the fridge though.
All right, ready?
dun 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 dun
Jump.
Oh, I didn't. Fuck.
Fucking remix.
Those clowns in Congress.
See, the funny part is we don't have a Congress either.
No. But we have the clowns.
Oh.
Oh, God, I've shit myself.
Oh, no. All over my floor.
Oh, no, I've got the Hershey Kisses.
I've been missing your Hershey Kisses.
Oh, as if Nikki Webster had any fucking sense, she would rebrand as a millennial act and only do songs about arse eating, and Hershey Kisses would be the first.
Featuring Flume.
Featuring Flume. Now that can go in the bonus episode, in the bonus scenes, but only without context.
No, that'll be a whole bonus episode.
A bonus episode.
Riffs in the key of arse eating.
In assholes.
Oh, fuck. Nick, little sidetrack here. Should we?
You want to do a sidetrack?
Yeah, should we approach Subway to sponsor our podcast? Do you think they'd go for that?
I don't think they would, no.
Okay.
Subway, eat ass, dunk. Subway's now sponsoring Flume. Oh, so many burps. The more I burp, the hungrier I get. Is that a normal reaction?
Maybe.
You're getting all of this, Elliot.